check. Mic check. Good morning. Happy hump day, everybody. Wednesday, wherever you are, however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. Just a reminder, as we get started today, if you could help us push this out, comment, like, share. I think maybe perhaps the biggest thing you could do to help us out is to share this on other social media. So if you're on Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, wherever it might be, it would be great if you could share our live stream. But it is great to see you all today. Sorry for the late start. I had some phone calls. My daughter made a birthday card for her teacher and left it. So I had to figure out how to get her mom to come here and pick it up. So if there's a sudden beam of light during the live stream, that's just a door opening. So my daughter's mom can pick up the card that she made for her teacher. And the cool thing about having a kid who makes birthday cards for her teacher is that after you make a birthday card for your teacher, the entire fucking house is covered in glitter, which is pretty cool, which I loved. Jen, good morning. No social media, good for you, Ak. Well, that's a flex. First of all, fuck you.
I still try to get Spawn to make cards for her friends. So that
she doesn't do it.
Well, no, she does them. She's got this. She's got some friends that are in her, like, she goes where she's gone to school. She has like 3 or 4 like guy friends that she's known since they were little, and so they have this thing where they make cards for each other for their birthdays, and they put the most ugly pictures of just random shit in the card.
That's pretty funny, actually. I like that.
So she's came to me and she wants to. She's like, can you print this out? And I'm like, why am I printing out like a picture of a guy with, you know, a 12 head and hairy, just random shit, and I don't know what it means, but
I noticed with like Blake that the best thing I can do, like if I want to like encourage behavior, is I try and do it myself and have her see me do that. So perhaps like if you made me birthday cards or just like thank you cards, or you know, Father's Day is coming up, perhaps if you started making cards for me, she would.
Well, what are you doing for me for Mother's Day? Because I think that's this weekend.
Fuck. Oh yeah, I gotta do something for you for Mother's Day. That's a good point. God damn it.
So we'll see how. I mean, I guess I can. I am kind of like your mom. I have to.
Don't ever say that again, please. Please never, ever, ever, ever fucking say that again. That's gonna be clipped. That sucks. Babysitter's fine, right? Chaperone, that's fine. I mean, I get it. Like with our age gap, you're old enough to be my mother, but you're not. Boom. Boom.
You don't want to call me mommy?
Take that.
You don't want to call me mommy?
Jeez Christ. Oh God, I hate you so much. I hate everybody. I hate you, Mystic. I hate all of you in the chat for making me uncomfortable. I can't ever make you uncomfortable. This sucks. Every time I try.
I don't know why you try. It's something that you're not good at. I'm better at this than you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can keep trying.
So. Yeah. I'm going to keep trying. I shouldn't, but I'm not a quitter. It's one thing you know about me. I put in effort. We got our date lined up this weekend yet? Are we gonna live stream?
I do have a date scheduled for Friday. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. If let's just say for Mother's Day I sent you a pair of like Meta glasses, would you?
No.
What do you mean no? You don't even know what I'm going to ask yet.
I know what you're going to ask. I know that.
Why not? Just give us. Let's just we should take a vote. The chat should vote.
No, this isn't up for debate.
Oh, suddenly this isn't a debate channel? Just because MAGA won't show up. See, now Jen's like MAGA. She won't show up in debate. Make your case, Jen.
If you want, you'll just be so much more uncomfortable. I mean, your tummy.
I probably won't watch it. To be honest, it would be. But just to see you, oh man, I can't imagine watching you flirt or like speak nicely to a man. That would break me. I don't know what I would do with it. Seeing you holding, I kind of actually get where the more like the further into this you get, the more I side with Spawn, and I get it. It might not even. It might just be like She doesn't know this version of you, and she's uncomfortable with it. Can you guys imagine seeing Jen holding hands with a man just like out? You just bump into her and she's holding hands, being sweet.
Well, what's funny, what's probably even more funny is a lot of these men that I meet, they think I'm sweet. They think I'm
That's
nice.
insane. That's insane. You're gonna murder them. They should talk to me. They need to know.
I mean, some would probably like to talk to you. They've asked about, like, because I'm very general about the show and stuff like that. So they've asked about.
Can I be? Yeah, can I be? I would love that. I would love to interview. Maybe that's what we do. Maybe I get to interview all your potential dates.
Yeah, it's just it's funny that like, they're like, you seem so sweet and nice, and I'm like, you have no idea, I'm kind of feral. So
why do they want to talk to me?
They don't want to talk to you. They just ask about the show. They're curious about the show, and
well, so. Can we take a vote on whether or not I get to screen the dates? You've screened my dates.
I have not. You don't even tell me. Like, you said you weren't dating, and then a day later you've got a girlfriend.
That's not entirely accurate.
It's not completely off either. So, but I did get a very
yeah.
It's like there's like two extremes, I think, from men that message me. And it's some that are like very nice, and other ones are saying inappropriate shit. For whatever reason.
Did you see Benny said to your date, you ever slept with another man before? You want to?
Yeah. And there was one guy who
go ahead.
I ended up asking, like, how he worded something. I had to ask if he was into being pegged. So,
or would you be comfortable? Would you be okay with that? Like, if you met somebody you really liked them, you would. You don't say I don't know. You would dominate.
That's really not my thing. So I just sent you a text, a message I got yesterday. It's like, so it's one of those messages or something completely different.
Oh no, no. Can I read it?
If you want to.
There's a disclaimer that says, does Sean's message bother? Oh shit, shouldn't have said that name. Does a Boo Bear's message bother you? We won't share your response. Damn, baby girl, you're so fucking sexy. Sheesh. Hard eyes, fire, 100. I don't know what the 100 is there for. Why is there 100 there?
100%? I don't know.
The hard eyes I get, the fire, sure. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. 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 Let's start over. Holy escalation. Boy, this guy thinks he's got his game works. All right, let's start that over. Damn, baby girl, you're so fucking sexy. Sheesh. Hard eyes, fire emoji, 100. I would fuck the shit out of you, sweetheart. Sweetheart. 2 exclamation points. What the fuck is 2 exclamation? 3 or 1, not 2. Oh, goddamn. What the Christ? This is a first message?
Yeah.
Is this Tinder? Is this what Tinder is like?
Well, at least this one is.
And you can sit on my face. Shrug emoji, and what would we call the wide-eyed emoji? Mm-hmm. Just throwing that out there. LOL. Tongue out. Jesus Christ.
So I get messages like that, and then other ones that think I'm very sweet and nice. So.
Wow. Did you respond?
No. I don't need to encourage bad behavior.
Well, I didn't think you were going to respond to encourage it. I thought.
But yeah.
No. Why can't? All right, listen, Jen. You are ruthless, and if this part does frustrate me a little bit about you, and I don't mean to be critical in front of our friends here, but you can make this man drive like an hour and a half out into the wilderness and just ghost him. You can just give him somebody else's address like an hour away and have him knock on the door. Maybe it's like some guy you know. Do you know anybody that lives within an hour of you? Some guy, and you could just give that address.
Of guys that live within an hour, but
and tell him to bring a banana cream pie and some breadsticks from Olive Garden. And he just shows up with a banana
Not the
cream
Chris
pie.
Hansen setup.
Yes. And then your friend can eat the banana cream pie and the Olive Garden breadsticks.
No, that means I'd have to associate with him in some roundabout way. I just don't want to. So
you coward. All right, fine.
I just don't need to. Don't want to get, I don't want to message him back. So.
That's a hell of a message. Good Lord.
Right? It's like I said, it's one of the two. Something like that or something.
I'm disappointed in the 50-50 response to my idea of sending him an hour and a half away. Have you ever listened to, is it Brooke and Jubal? I can't remember what it is. It's something in Jubal. I remember the name Jubal. It's like a radio show.
Yeah.
There's one.
I think that's based. Yeah.
Yeah, I see there's one, maybe we can even find it. It was so funny. I think we ought to play it. Fuck it. Is it Brooke and Jubal? I got the name right. That is a first. By the way, Caffeine says Jen is my mommy, which is adorable. Damien, thanks for sending a early message today from Damien. Just finished yesterday's show. Thanks, Damien. And I don't know what this is in reference to, but Alex sent a Cash App at 4:45 a.m. this morning that said, finding the nipple. Oh, wait, no, it's a joke. Shit, I gave the punchline away. What's the hardest part about making almond milk? Finding the nipple. That makes significantly more sense, and that's a good joke. Let's find this Brooke and Jubal. There's one where this guy does this to like his ex-girlfriend.
Sean sent a Venmo that said, happy Mother's Day and for the goal. And then Kaylin said, for RTP and his mommy.
I hate that. I hate that a lot. Can we not do that? Can we never do that again? Let me see if this is it.
There are some places you should never him in the truck.
I mean, I can't help but think.
I can't remember. Anyways, they call this guy and she's like, I drove like 2 hours to some diner and he ghosted me. And they call the guy and they ask if he knows, and he just like kind of starts laughing. And they're like, what? He's like, are we really going to do this? And they're like, yeah. He's like, all right. And it was his ex-girlfriend that cheated on him. And so he created like an alternate account and matched with her, let's just say Tinder or whatever.
I think I heard this one.
And he convinced her to drive 2 hours. It was like a long con too. Like he really like got to know her and then got her to drive 2 hours to meet. And then she just like breaks in. She's like, are you fucking kidding me? And he just dies laughing. It's probably my favorite one. So anyways, just maybe try that out, Jen.
Well, wasn't she doing like why the date didn't work out or why?
Yeah, it's like a second date update, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it was. And when they reached out, it was him.
Yeah,
that's right. That one's pretty funny. But yeah, no, I don't feel like if I responded to every weirdo that was in my DMs, I just wouldn't have time to do anything else. So
this seems like a job for oh my God, why did I forget her name? This is embarrassing. She might be here. Probably not because she's not on TikTok. Who's our friend that lives in south of me 2 hours that used to post these? Holy shit. She used to, I think she got banned on TikTok for like reading, or she got banned on all the dating apps. Holy shit. Reggie. Jesus Christ. Reggie. God. Sorry, Reggie, if you're here. If I haven't talked to you for a month, it's a good chance I forget your name. My bad. It was Reggie. All right, Jen, take it away. Do your announcements so we can do the show now. That's quite a start.
All right. Well, so welcome everybody. We're glad to have you all back with my insane dating updates and Jay getting embarrassed by trying to win a one-up conversation.
We've passed that already, Jen. You don't need to dwell on that.
I haven't, but it's so we do this show each day, Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 1. We are crowdfunded. This is our job. So we need to hit our goal each day so that we can keep doing this and keep making Jay try to win, one-up things, and he won't. So we need to hit the gift goal, and how you do that was sending Venmos, Cash Apps, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking out that gift goal. So if we could do that faster, that would be fantastic. There were the last couple of days, you guys stressed me out a bit. It's kind of like came down to the wire. So if we could not do that, I'd appreciate it. That would be cool. If you guys disagree with RTB, you can send a message to me on Discord and I can bring you on. So my Discord's the same as the Venmo, so Jen with 2 N's, WTB is the number 1, and I can bring you on. Also, we've got a members-only event later tonight. If you are a paid member or subscriber on either of the channels, you can join us for those events. It's tonight at 6 Pacific time.
Can't wait.
In Discord, and so it's company retreat, right?
Yeah, and I'm making a trip as soon as we're done today. I have been relatively cannabis free, and we're going to fix that tonight to watch company retreat. So if you want to be in the chat today while I'm absolutely blitzed, enjoy.
Yeah, and so then thank goodness we have that. So if you're not already paid member or subscriber and you want to join us for that, please sign up for that. Oh, we did get the merch that we talked about earlier. Is it up? That is up. It's up. So,
how do I go? That's on
here.
Shopify, right? Just send me the link. Yeah, we'll show you the shirt.
It's Printify.
Printify, nailed it.
Close
I don't
enough.
know anything about what we do. While that's going, this is interesting. While you're pulling that up, you can get it to me. Somebody's mentioning this.
We're not allowed back in the building throughout.
Show the video. Apparently there was a raid this morning.
FBI here telling us today that these are court-authorized criminal search warrants that they are issuing. They're going into the building behind me. This is the office.
This is for FBI's raiding the office of State Senator Luis Lucas.
Here in Portsmouth of State Senator Luis Lucas. You can likely see some of the FBI agents behind me. All of the staffers inside this building were told to come outside. I could hear them saying that they were not allowed back in the building. Throughout the last hour, we've been seeing the FBI come and go carrying boxes out of the building. Now, just across the parking lot next to where I am, there is a cannabis dispensary. We know that the state senator is associated with several cannabis locations and dispensaries. And what we're seeing there, a completely different scene carrying out. SWAT teams arrived with their weapons drawn, telling anyone in the building to come out of the building with their hands up. We also saw at least 3 people being taken into custody. First, they were put in handcuffs, put on the ground, and then they were taken away. So it's a slightly less large presence than we did see earlier, but there still is a good amount of FBI agents still here on the ground. Also, what happened within the last hour, the Senator Lucas arrived here herself. I was able to speak with her. I asked her what her reaction was to all of this. She told me she had no idea what they were doing here.
All right, let's see. MS Now has something on this. What is this? This is interesting.
This morning,
what are they
the
accusing her of?
FBI is searching the office of a Democrat in the Virginia State Senate, Luis Lucas. That's according to Fox News.
I wonder.
Citing federal law enforcement sources. She is a party leader who was instrumental in the Virginia redistricting effort. MS Now senior investigative reporter Carol Lenig is following this. Carol, what have you learned about this investigation?
So Luis Lucas is a fairly prominent legislator in her state, but not known nationally. And the FBI and the Department of Justice have been investigating her for several years, 3 years, I'm told by a source familiar with the probe. And that investigation has been looking at evidence suggesting that she solicited or accepted bribes.
Donald Trump is, and we're going to get to this story, is openly soliciting and collecting bribes in the billions of dollars. And cool. Apparently, her investigators found that 65 of the 66 products on the shelves of her dispensary, which I guess she's an owner of, had higher than allowed levels of THC.
Also, an important note here, Anna, I'm told by this source, and this has been ongoing for some time, that when Lindsay Halligan, one of Trump's very closest allies and a former lawyer of his, had been running the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Virginia, she had been pressuring and pushing prosecutors.
Didn't she get run out too? Why are all of his attorneys idiots?
To bring charges against Lucas, believing that that would be important, a high priority case.
That's my grandma. If that's really your grandma, first of all, your grandma's dope. Second of all, I'm sorry.
I'm told that Halligan believed it would be good for the White House to be able, before the midterms, to accuse a prominent state Democrat in Virginia.
I see what you're saying. Over 3 years, she's been investigated. Trump was in office 2 years. Right. But like, if this is a bribery case, which is what they're saying here, like, why? What's the raid for?
With bribery.
I don't know. None of these have panned out. Here's a FBI spokesperson. Let's see what this is.
Can you tell us what it involves at all? Tell me what's going on.
I can confirm that the FBI is here conducting court-authorized law enforcement activity.
Does it have to do with the cannabis shop here and over at the other property for Louise Lucas?
It's an ongoing investigation, so I can't provide any more details at this time.
Can you tell us what it involves?
Hey, nobody has a crush on you. This is the state of Virginia. The gerrymandering ruling was in Louisiana. Good try. Is that Kash Patel's jacket? No, it's too big.
Thank you very much. What is your name?
I'm not sure. I guess we'll get updates on that. If it's anything like every other action Trump's Department of Justice has taken against a Democrat, it will go absolutely nowhere. This looks like political posturing to me, and it works, right? Like this always works on dumbass Republicans because all they see is the raid or the indictment, and then they just assume guilty. And no matter how the facts come out, they're just like, oh, they're guilty, but the courts are corrupt. What's up, Jen?
I sent you the link for the merch.
Okay.
For that, and then so yeah.
Yes.
So just I'll just finish up my announcements and stuff. So yeah, there's like I mentioned, the gift goal. That'd be great. Check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. So we got merch tees on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify.
We got tumblers. We got a hoodie. Nuclear dolphin 2 weeks away. If you remember the story yesterday that the Trump administration and Marco Rubio doubled down on this yesterday, actually, that this nuclear dolphin thing's real. So yeah, it looks like we got a hoodie, got a women's crop top, kiss cut vinyl decals, regular t-shirt, 20-ounce and stainless tumbler, and I guess a different type of stainless tumbler. So there you go. You can catch that on rtp-talks.printify.me. Bang biscuits.
There's links to it on the link tree too. If you guys need that. Why did the teddy bear want to stop eating?
He was stuffed.
It was, yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's been a long time since I got one. I feel good about that.
Exactly.
Today's going to be a good day.
Exactly. What state does the Mississippi River flow in?
I don't know.
Liquid.
That's actually pretty good. Can we put the link in the chat? Let's see. I'll post it.
I can post it. I'll pin it in both chats.
I just put it in the chat. There we go. Okay. All right. There's the link to the merch shop. All right. Let's get started today. Like Jen said, don't try your best not to stress her out. She just takes it out on me. And as pleasant as Jen can seem on these live streams, behind closed doors, she is vicious and cruel. And she knows all of my insecurities, and so she attacks those insecurities regularly, leaving me a broken mess in a puddle of tears nightly that I have to. I was Jen. See, this is what she does, guys. See, she invalidates my feelings, and this is why it's so hard. While I'm trying to share my feelings, here comes Jen to invalidate them.
All right.
I think I won that exchange. I finally won an exchange. All right. I want to talk about this. This was a few days ago, actually, but we didn't ever get to it for the Supreme Court. If you want to follow SCOTUS blog, and there's constant updates on what the Supreme Court is doing here. But There's a case this week that they were hearing. Supreme Court on Wednesday was divided on Mullen v. Doe over the Trump administration's efforts to strip citizens of Haiti and Syria of their protections under a federal program that allows foreign citizens to remain in the United States when the U.S. government believes that it is not safe for them to go home. This, I believe, is TPS. After roughly 1 hour and 45 minutes of oral arguments, it was not clear whether a majority of the justices would allow the challengers' claims to go forward or whether the challengers would ultimately prevail if they did. It is TPS. Enacted by Congress in 1990, it authorizes the Department of Homeland Security to designate a country's citizens as eligible to remain in the U.S. and work if they cannot safely return to their own country because of a natural disaster, armed conflict, or other extraordinary and temporary conditions there. I don't know if you guys know about the news. Do you watch CNN? But it's not like Haiti and Syria are places that are super calm right now. And so we have people from Haiti and Syria that were designated in 2010 after there was an earthquake in Haiti. And then in Syria, they cited deteriorating conditions in a country after a brutal crackdown by Bashar al-Assad against anti-government dissenters. So they were given safe haven here. They can work. They're here. They work. I have never seen anything that says the people in Haiti or Syria are causing problems here in the United States. But here we are. Donald Trump just decided Haiti and Syria. There was somebody, he was mad about somebody that was from Haiti, right? Who was the person he was mad at right before this happened? Is there a member of Congress from Haiti? Let me remember who he was mad at. Yeah, there's the one in Florida, the Democrat in Florida. She's got some corruption charges right now. Sheila Sheriff Alyssa McCormick. She was taking bribes, I think. I don't remember. I'm looking here. Mia Love was the first Haitian American to be elected, but she's not in Congress anymore. And she's a Republican. She was terrible. She was in Utah. She was awful. Frederica Wilson. I don't know if they have problems there. Yvette Clark and Ayanna Presley. I don't remember. He was mad at one of them, and then it happened. This administration is eating the checks and eating the bounces. So the entity that is supposed to determined, and you disagree? Oh, Adam, sweetheart. No, they didn't determine. They haven't made a decision yet. This is like a good glimpse into the MAGA brain. You've just already decided what you want the outcome to be. And if the Supreme Court rules that the Trump administration was wrong, would you be like, oh, well, yeah, they were wrong. They shouldn't have done that. Hell no. You would be like, the Supreme Court is weaponized against Donald Trump. Robert Joachim showed what Haitians here on TPS are doing. Who is Robert? I'm assuming that was Robert. What did he say? Let's see. Oh, that was somebody from Haiti. That person was here, looks like illegally, though. A Haitian illegal immigrant accused of bludgeoning an innocent mother to death. So it wasn't here on TPS. Oh, but they're Haitian, right? So we apply that across the board with Haitians, right? People that are here legally. No, it doesn't say he was here under TPS. He had he entered the U.S. in August of 2022 with an asylum claim. The asylum claim was denied, and a judge issued a final order of removal against him in 2022. Then he got TPS status while he waited that expired in 2024, and this happened in April of 2026. So yeah, he was here illegally because he no longer had TPS. So that sounds like somebody here illegally, right? Sounds like I already disagree without determination. I do disagree with the Trump administration's decision here, and we're allowed to do that. We're allowed to disagree with that. I think that it was Donald Trump doing what Donald Trump always does, being super reactive and racist. That's what I think it was. So you can disagree with that if you'd like. However, let's go here. I wanted you to hear one of the arguments, and I want to hear this is Justice Jackson, and trying to sort through, like, how do you differentiate between black African immigrants and white African immigrants? And this is where we run into problems here, because what we do know is that at the same time, as Trump is halting these programs, claiming that Haitian immigrants and Syrian immigrants are a problem without citing anything, like exactly the example you just gave me here doesn't go to show that Haitians or Syrians are a problem. Then Trump brings in people from South Africa, pretends that there's some sort of white genocide happening in South Africa, and that there's this attack against South African white farmers, when the majority, I think it's like it's more than 70% of the people who have been killed on farms in South Africa are black. But it somehow is like a genocide against white South African farmers. Trump gives them status, but then to Haiti and to Syria, like, no. What other way would you like me to look at that? Adam, what argument are you making here? So there was a determination by our government? Yes. And they're ruling whether or not that was constitutional. You recognize the government can do unconstitutional things, right? The executive, Donald Trump has been caught doing unconstitutional things multiple times. You know that, right? That's what this hearing is for. All right. Here's John Sauer with Justice Jackson.
General, what about poisoning?
I've pivoted. Shut up, bro. You pivoted like 9 times. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just giving you news. I haven't even stated, until you asked, I hadn't even stated my opinion here. I was just telling you about a Supreme Court hearing that was happening, and then you decided that they had already determined the outcome. Just listen.
The blood of Americans.
If you could look at those statements in context, again, they're clearly talking about problems like
what about bad
crime.
bad genes, quote unquote?
Again,
what does Trump mean when he says bad genes? What does he mean when he calls these countries shithole countries? If it's not, there's a lot of countries where there's a lot of problems. How come it's always specifically like countries with a black population, a majority black population? What are we supposed to take from that?
So not racially.
Yeah, they presented them wrenched from context. You can look at each one of those statements. They're talking about problems of crime, poverty, welfare dependency. Again, problems that have been emphasized again and again by not just President.
No, it has not been determined, Adam. This is the hearing. They have a hearing and then they determine. And so we can listen to these hearings and we can deduce what we think.
Trump, not just the secretary, but many others who favor a tough immigration policy. And if the position of the district courts
here. The position of the United States is that we have to have an actual racial epithet, that we aren't allowed to look at all the context, to include the president's insistence that immigrants from certain countries, largely, if not almost exclusively, countries with African immigrants, black African immigrants, are not allowed, and calling these sorts of names and the types of things he said about Haiti. At the same time, that it is the policy of the United States to encourage and welcome immigrants from places like Norway and Denmark and white South Africans. Your view?
Yes, Adam. It's deciding whether or not Trump can do this. It's questioning who gets to determine. Correct. Yeah, but are you just here to argue today?
Is that it's not
Go back a little.
Africans. Your view is that it's not appropriate for the court to take into account that kind of evidence or the context in which all of this is happening.
It's our view that those statements that they allege, which include statements that were before the court in both Trump against Hawaii and regions, keep in mind this is the 3rd time this kind of claim has come before this court. It rejected it in Trump against Hawaii, rejected it again
in
in
the
regions.
Immigration policy, the idea, the white South African immigration policy is recent. So that wasn't in Trump against Hawaii. That wasn't the statements about Haiti and eating pets and the names that were called with respect to these immigrants, even though they are lawfully in the United States. Those are pretty recent. So let's separate it out then.
Does he have an RFK? John Sauer, right? He argues consistently. He's probably their best lawyer. He is a very good lawyer, by the way. But the voice does sound RFK-ish.
What do you say about those kinds of things?
Again, as the court held in Regents, these are statements made in different contexts that are remote in time. They are unilluminating. The court said in Regents, the Chief Justice's opinion in Regents says, we're going to give them the most negative possible interpretation that's provided by the plaintiff.
I'm giving them the most negative interpretation. So tell me, if I assume or think that these are related to the president's intentions to encourage certain...
What she's saying here is that you have to take the president's context, and if you're going to say that you can just end TPS for Syrians and Haitians based on what publicly he said, because there's no real reason for it, right? They haven't given a good reason other than Trump says people from this country are bad. That's the determination they're making here. Once you're here, regardless of your status, whether it's a TPS, even if you're here and you're undocumented, you have due process. So it seems like there was no due process here. And I think that the argument, if you're being fair, if you're not just a Trump sycophant, do you think we should have a country where there is no due process, where the president just unilaterally can be like, hey, you guys got to go, without any real explanation other than public statements saying these are shithole countries, the Haitians are bad, their country sucks. He's literally said like they're just shooting each other all the time. If that's your opinion, if you think that the people of Haiti are just running around shooting each other all the time and they're not doing it here, why would you end the temporary protected status and send these people who are here, who are paying taxes, who are working, why would you send them back to Haiti?
Immigrants on the basis of race and discourage others. What do we do with that in light of Arlington Heights?
The court should conclude that the statements are unilluminating and fail to raise any plausible inference of animus.
Judge Reyes found that they were illuminating. Aren't we applying a clear error standard here? What do we do? We're not looking at this de novo. We have a district court finding that there is evidence of discriminatory intent here, enough early in the case to allow this claim to go forward. So aren't we bound in some regard with respect to what the lower court has already determined about these facts?
I would say.
So whoever that was earlier, sorry, I forgot your name, and no disrespect, but the court has ruled, right? There has been some ruling. Now they're deciding whether or not they're going to uphold that ruling.
No,
I don't concede that, but it does not matter.
You
Under
think
any
it's
review,
not clear error review?
The court's looking at
Captain, you tell me where in the Constitution I would go to research temporary protected status, and then I'll happily go read that. But you don't just say dumb shit like read the Constitution. If you're saying read the Constitution like the pocket Constitution, you're not really going to find anything about temporary protected status in there.
exactly the same statements that she is looking at. The court should apply the logic of Regents, which says, first of all, the president's statements are less relevant. The secretary's statements are what matter. Again, these
okay, my bad. Sorry, Captain.
So ignore the findings of fact of the lower court. Do not give them.
I did that. My bad. I didn't see you tagging somebody. I always assume when it's not tagged that it's for me, so I apologize.
Any deference, no clear error review. We're just looking at this afresh.
I think it does not matter with deference or without deference. This claim just doesn't get off the starting blocks. It's the third time this sort of claim has been brought. The lower courts are enamored of these kinds of claims, but this is the third time this kind of claim has come before this court. It's rejected it in Hawaii, rejected it in Regents, should be rejected again here.
General, can I ask you a question?
Why are we listening to Timu Gollum from Lord of the Rings? Anyways, that's it was hard. I listened to the hearing yesterday. It's actually I don't think that the Republican justices are really indicating how they're going to rule here. I think it's a tough ruling. I think it would be really tough for the justices here to rule that, given the public statements of Donald Trump, specifically about Haiti and Syria, that you can justify ending TPS status, because you end TPS status when it's like it's safe for people to go home. That's a reason why you give them TPS status. And then on top of that, like, even if you wanted to make a justification saying like, hey, it may not be safe for them, but it's not safe for us for them to be here. If you're going to make that argument, make that argument. But Trump hasn't made any of those arguments. It's legitimately just been their country's bad, therefore they are bad, they got to go. Yeah, thank you, Chris. Considering the TPS was part of the Immigration Act of 1990, you won't find anything about it in the founding document written in the 1700s. True. You can't help the planet if we were all broke. They're helping us, Greg. They're here working and paying taxes. They're not here on handouts. They're here. Again, But Greg, let me ask you a question then. Let's apply that logic. We can't help the planet if we're all broke. Then why is Trump bringing in South African farmers and giving them farmland? Why did we pay to fly them here? You see the problem here? If your logic were sound, Trump wouldn't be allowing immigrants from certain nations to come in. You want to address that, Gregory? I know there's a little bit of a lag, so I apologize. I don't know how far behind you are, but I'd love it if you'd address that. Somebody asked me, can you have citations for times that Trump was ruled unconstitutional? Several. If you remember birthright citizenship, Trump in January 20th of 2025 put out an executive order to end birthright citizenship for the children of non-citizens, which is a clear defiance of the 14th Amendment. There were multiple federal judges who issued nationwide preliminary injunctions declaring it unconstitutional. 4 judges ruled against it by 2025. The orders targeting law firms, which was, I think, there was a bunch of executive orders, 14-230, which was on March 6th, 14-250, March 27th, and 14-246 on March 25th. They all specifically targeted law firms: Perkins Coie, Wilmer Hell, Jenner and Block, Sussman Godfrey, and they suspended their clearances and contracts over ties to past investigations into Trump because they pro bono did. I don't even know if it was pro bono. Let me take that back. They helped investigate Donald Trump, and those were both district courts in D.C. granted summary judgments. And all of those ruled unconstitutional. On the federal hiring freeze was ruled unconstitutional. So there's a couple. You can look those ones up. Appreciate it. 700 watching, 114 thumbs up. There we go. Let's get those thumbs up. If you're here and you're watching, thumbs up the stream. Even if you're a Republican, you could convince maybe some of your Republican friends to come in here and you guys can debate in the comments. Or if you're new here, you're actually welcome to come up here and talk to me. Up in the top left corner, you'll see the Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal usernames. The Venmo username is Jen's Venmo username, and also her username on Discord. You can message her on Discord. You can bring up, and you can use your voice. Chris said, 2-joke day. Thank you. It was a 2-joke day. I don't know if I got this one earlier. Armando said, if you had me drive 2 hours with the cost of gas, I'm going to jail. Well, don't say weird shit on Tinder, I guess. And plus, Jen won't do it anyways, which is devastating. All right. Moving on. I just saw this clip, and I wasn't going to put this on the show because it's so quick and it doesn't have a ton of context. But I want to show again. There was that clip of Scott Bessent last week where he's like, "We're basically going to blame the Biden administration for like 6 to 12 months, and then by then everything will be our own policies, and we'll take credit for things, and things are going to get amazing." And we'll just be celebrating our wins. Well, things have not gotten amazing. So they've decided they're just going to keep blaming the Biden administration. This is on CNBC, Bill Pulte, who from Pulte Homes, who's, I think he's HUD, Housing and Urban Development. I might be wrong about that. He might be, let's just see, what does he do? His exact role. He might not be HUD. What is he? Chairman... Housing Finance Agency and chairman of Fannie and Freddie Mac. Okay, there we go. So he came on to talk about housing, and he did what Republicans are just always doing now, which is lying about the record under Joe Biden.
Now, to talk about this and a whole host of issues around housing is U.S. Director of Federal Housing, Bill Pulte. Thank you for joining us, Minister Pulte.
Yeah, same guy who wanted a 50-year mortgage.
So on these mortgage rates, I know that you guys have been really trying to boost the housing market, but with the rise in oil prices and the war, it's hard to fight the trend on rates.
Well,
what are you doing about it?
I think we've done it, Sarah. I mean, you look at the Biden administration, there were mortgage rates almost at 8%, not to mention people had inflation and they couldn't even afford their monthly mortgage payments. I mean, mortgages now are in the low 6s.
Let me just point something out there. Mortgage rates were at 8%. Now they're at 6%. That doesn't mean that the people who got a mortgage at 8% are now paying 6%, right? The people who got mortgages at 8% had to go through the same rigorous process to get a mortgage as anybody else, and they had to prove that they could pay for that. But when he says that nobody could afford their housing, I want you to look at mortgage default rates. You can see here, obviously, in 2008 when it really peaked. This was the default rate, and when we hit 3%, as if in the great Big Short they say Armageddon, that was right. As soon as we creeped over 3%, it was Armageddon, and we peaked at 11.49. And since then, it's steadily been coming down until Q4 2019. This is a COVID spike. It's also a little bit Trump, but the rates were very low here. We have a COVID spike. Biden didn't take over till here. And the entirety of Biden's presidency, he was bringing down mortgage rates. They got down to a low of 1.71, and now we're sitting at 1.78. So they've actually come up since Biden. Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with rates, does it? They just say that. They're not fixing anything. And dropping rates wouldn't change the default rate here. It would just mean that more people could buy houses. But that would cause prices to go back up. One thing that's kind of cool that we're seeing, like Austin's a good example. I think in Austin, the average price of housing is down like 25%. Keeping rates high makes it so that specifically, and this is why Trump hates it so much, so corporations don't go in and buy up all the houses. They don't have the same access to capital. They don't have the same access to rates, and it doesn't make a ton of sense for them. So you're keeping rates high right now because, one, housing is too expensive, and two, nobody can afford it. So if you lower those rates, it's just going to give everybody with money the ability to go out and buy lots and lots of houses, and that's kind of what they're waiting for. So good. This is a good thing. They should just celebrate it that way, but they can't because all of their donors, everybody they're beholden to, are just rich people. So ironically, it's kind of helping you guys, unless you want to refinance. But they can't say that. Ban corporate landlords. Amen. Amen. All right. Moving on. Is Trump's announcement now today as we with the ballroom. This is batshit crazy. He's going to tell you that because the ballroom is over budget, it's under budget. The White House ballroom is going up rapidly on the east side of the White House. The only reason the cost has changed, meaning went up, is because after deep-rooted studies, it is approximately twice the size. Wait, you needed deep-rooted studies to determine it's going to be double the size and a far higher quality than the original proposal, which would not have been adequate to handle the necessary events, meetings, and even future inaugurations. We've doubled the cost. The original price was $200 million. The double size, highest quality completed project will be something less than $400 million. So roughly double. It went up. It will be magnificent, safe, and secure. This was a necessary change. Still don't know why it's a necessary change. It was done long ago. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. It was done long ago, but the fake news failed to report it, trying to make it look like there was a cost overrun. Actually, it is coming in ahead of schedule and under budget. It is literally double the budget. And he's telling you, fake news reporting that 400 million is double 200 million is fake news. Math isn't math anymore. What's wrong with bringing the White House up to par for the 20th century? It's not. How does a ballroom bring the White House up to par? And secondly, like, why are we spending money on this? You don't think that there's more important things? And now, thank you, Iron Pit, Congress has said you can actually have $1 billion. So what started as $200 million that Trump was going to pay for himself, then became $400 million, which was paid for exclusively by donors. And now it's $1 billion paid for by you. It is remarkable to watch you guys still like be on board with this administration. Why do you let them lie to you like this? Why do you just sit here and like, I'm actually going to defend this? Here is Dan, I think it's Mauser is how you say this, Republican, explaining why this is so fucking important and why you guys want it. And this is for the Republicans that are here, since you don't know why you want this. This is going to be really inspiring for you. You can take this. Now they're going to tell you why you want this.
That bill that stands out is $1 billion in security adjustments at the White House for Secret Service. This would provide the security surrounding the president's ballroom projects.
Paul, Congress hasn't passed it yet. It's not a bill. It's in their reconciliation, and they've earmarked $1 billion for it.
Some Democrats, think this will be a winning issue for them, forcing Republicans to vote on the president's ballroom, while the American people right now are kind of struggling to pay for
Stop voting left or right. Who are you going to vote for? Who are you going to vote for? Don't vote left or right. Don't vote. All right, cool.
gas and groceries. But what do you think of all of this?
Well, first off, it's excellent that we are getting the reconciliation done. Of course, it's being done only through Republicans. Democrats really don't understand what's taking place here, as they've greatly hurt our homeland security.
This is homeland security. Guys, having a ballroom is homeland security, okay? And Democrats just don't understand that. They've greatly hurt Homeland Security by pointing out that Trump keeps lying about the ballroom.
Hear Secretary Mark Wayne talk about it. We've short.
That's Mark Wayne Mullen, who's the head of DA. What does that have to do with the east wing of the ballroom, or the east wing that's going to be a ballroom? Somebody explain that.
We lost 1,100 people within CISA. Our cybersecurity prevention and work is greatly inhibited. It's just terrible. And frankly, their position on Iran, I mean, when they speak, they sound like heck. They're more for Iran than they are for...
Yeah, but what can you tell us why we want the ballroom? So far you've told us that Homeland Security is important and Democrats don't like what's happening in Iran. You were going to explain to us why the ballroom was important.
America, not just for de-escalation. Look, it's a security project. Yes, it's on the East Wing, but it's a security initiative, or that funding.
Yeah.
It really has nothing to do with the construction of the so-called ballroom, which is being privately funded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the $1 billion was for... What's $1 billion for then? But I'm going to have to ban the words Nick Shirley. Jen, can we mute the words Nick Shirley today? Bud, let it go, man. You got to get a new one. You got to get a new gimmick. It is a little funny. I think he'd be happy. No update, by the way, on whether or not I'm going to be able to go to that wedding where Nick Shirley's a groomsman. I'm still working on it. Okay. Let's go here. This is actually great stuff by Top House Democrats. They're launching now a probe into how or if the Trump administration made plans for gas and farm spikes during the Iran war. Trump keeps saying, like, yeah, I knew the consequences here, but nobody can tell us. Like, we've hauled in now Pete Hegseth, General Kane, and as well as what's his dumbass name? What's the Heritage Foundation guy's name? OMB director, Russ Vogt. Hauled them in, and they don't have any answers. They keep saying, like, yeah, we knew, but what did you know? You knew it was going to affect Americans this badly, but you just did it anyways? So to determine whether you made any effort, speaking to the Trump administration, to understand or prepare for the ways that starting a war with Iran would make life more difficult and expensive for the American people, whether and how you intend to address the increased expense to Americans that you have caused, and to inform potential legislative solutions to lower the cost of living for American households, we request the following information by May 20th, 2026. If you give a goddamn about America and you are not in a cult, you would applaud this. This is Democrats asking for transparency on what the Trump administration knew, what they planned for, and what their plans are going forward to make your life more affordable. Only an absolute cultist would be in the chat while we read this, arguing about this. So I'm throwing that out there. What they're saying is, can you please tell us what you knew and what the plan is? And if you disagree that we should have that type of transparency, you're kind of left to just admit that you have given up and you just trust Donald Trump for everything. Number one, they want documents and communications between the White House and any federal agency, included but not limited to the Department of State, Defense, Treasury, Energy, Agriculture, regarding how a potential war with Iran was anticipated to affect shipping and transportation through the Strait of Hormuz. Not me. No, it is me. This isn't pretend. I'm just reading, but this isn't even expertise. This is just these letters form words, which form sentences, which form paragraphs. And when you read them, you can understand what they're doing. Documents and communications between the White House and any federal agency, included but not limited to the same groups, regarding how a potential war with Iran was anticipated to affect global energy markets. Same thing here regarding how a potential war with Iran was anticipated to affect global fertilizer markets. regarding how a potential war with Iran was anticipated to affect gasoline, shipping, and transportation prices. This is great stuff by the Democrats for the American people. You should support this. You should support transparency here. Crazy. If you are upset with me or if you are disagreeing with this, we are left with only one explanation, and it is your strong desire to take Donald Trump's dick and shove it as far down your throat as you possibly can, because this is just simply transparency. Take off your partisan goggles for a second and pay attention. Regarding how a potential war with Iran was anticipated to affect utility costs, how it was anticipated to affect farming and food costs, how it was anticipated to address any negative impacts on increased costs to Americans that might result from a potential war with Iran, and a detailed description of how the White House intends to address the affordability crisis that you exacerbated by starting this illegal war with Iran, which it is 100% an illegal war. And I'll show you how they're spinning this now. They're just lying. They're literally saying we're going around the system so we can keep bombing Iran because Donald Trump has a fucking ego. To the extent that the documents and communications above do not exist, please state this explicitly. As a reminder, there is no law or rule restricting the executive branch from providing classified information to Congress, and Congress is entitled to that information. The committees will utilize appropriate infrastructure to facilitate the delivery of any classified materials. Don't disrespect my president. Your president's a dumb motherfucker, and I will disrespect him all day, every day, whenever I want to, because I live in America and we have the freedom of speech. But once again, you're upset with me because Americans are demanding transparency. You're like, why can't you just trust him? Why can't you just love him and live on his every word? Why do you want him to explain things? This isn't fair. All right. I want to talk about California. This governor's race is interesting. Let me tell you one thing that California does right that everybody else should do. The way that they run their elections, everybody's on the ballot. There's no primary where you select a winner and then they go against each other. Everybody's on the ballot. And you have these primaries where the top two people move on. Right now, just if you hate California for this, Republicans, right now, the two people at the top of the polls are both Republican. This allows California, a state that you all think is a communist hellhole, this allows you to vote for a popular Republican. You could potentially have two Republicans that you're choosing between in the state of California. Every state should do it this way. It's way better. That when you have debates, and we're going to play a bunch of clips from their debate, you have Republicans talking to Democrats, Republicans talking to Republicans, Democrats talking to Democrats. One thing I hate about all of these primaries and the debates is that you're always debating against a straw man. You just get to stand there on stage and you get to paint your opponent as potentially something that they're not, and they don't get a chance to respond because they're not there. It's a stupid way to run elections, and California does it the right way. But I wanted to show you the latest polling. This is from Emerson College. And this is the first, I think, extensive poll since Eric Swalwell dropped out. Fuck that guy forever, by the way. You can see here, right now, Hilton is in the lead with 17%. Chad Bianco at 14%, tied with Tom Steyer, who's likely going to win the nomination, or who's likely going to be the Democrat that takes that wins. Mahan's probably going to drop out. I would imagine after last night with Sarah, I think it's going to be like a Steyer Porter run. And maybe it'll be those two. Maybe they'll be able to pass Hilton and Bianco. We'll see. When polled on what they care about most of them, 41% say the most important issue is the economy, which I think you guys would probably agree with, the Republicans and Democrats in California. Number 2 is housing affordability. Number 3 is threats to democracy. Number 4, immigration. Number 5, healthcare. That's what we're looking at. So keep that in mind, that's the things that are most important to Californians as we play some of these clips. First, I'm going to have Antonio Villaraigosa talking to Chad Bianco. Now, Chad Bianco is like, I think he's the Riverside sheriff. He looks like a sheriff. If you took one look at him, you're like, what does this guy do? And you're like, he's probably a racist sheriff. You would be right. And I'm not even using that like in general to say all sheriffs are racist. It could be. But he's like a legitimate racist. And this was, I think this is going to be a problem for him. I think this is going to sink him in the polls a little bit here.
Want to be the bully that you always are. No, you know, you're an oath keeper. We all know that. And I'm very proud of it. Well,
very proud to be a member of the Oath Keepers, whose leaders were found guilty of seditious conspiracy. A far-right extremist hate group who commits crimes on the reg. Chad Bianco, Mr. Law and Order, is a proud member of the Oath Keepers, he says.
I'm very proud of it. And guess what? You're going to swear an oath, and you swore an oath. You should know what you were swearing and be proud of defending it. I don't think an oath keeper is qualified to be governor. I don't think you know what an oath keeper is. But maybe want to be the bully that you always are. No,
I think we know what they did. I think that we know that they are traitors to this country, and they were found so in court. I think we all know who the Oath Keepers are. That's somebody said, like, who said that? Jay Rezzi said he won't sink. The people that like him are proud for that fact they're racist. I agree, but I think a lot of people didn't know that. I think that's news to a lot of people, and that's indefensible for even some Republicans. You can't have somebody legitimately just be like, yeah, like I'm a white nationalist. That's not going to work. You're going to lose some. That's going to be a problem. Tom Steyer, who can I just be honest? This fucks me up. I do like Katie Porter. I think that would be my choice. But Tom Steyer is this weird fucking billionaire. He ran a hedge fund. He runs a super PAC. And his super PAC focuses mostly on environmental issues. And as a billionaire, it's bizarre because he's the one being supported by all these grassroots organizations. You would expect other billionaires and corporations lining up behind Tom Steyer. But yeah, see, I hear you. This is what fucks me up, though. Possibly the best candidate is Tom Steyer. If I didn't know he was a billionaire and I was just listening to the debates, I thought he outperformed Katie Porter, who I would choose. It's a weird. It's going to be weird for California. This is a very strange billionaire. But here he is talking about the price of gas.
Mr. Steyer. I do think it's rich to hear someone talk about $3 gas who is owned by Donald Trump, who has driven up the gas price by at least $1.50. And I do think it's rich for somebody who is
not as rich as you, Tom.
Sorry, this is Steve Hilton. I don't know much about Steve Hilton. He's not part of the Hilton family. He has, I think, a British accent. He's British and American political commentator, and he was a former contributor to Fox News. Outside of that, I don't know what he did.
Taking 1 to 3 million people off Medi-Cal, the poorest people, most vulnerable people in California, so that he can lower the taxes on the richest Americans and the biggest corporations. The truth of the matter is, what I stand for is shared prosperity, real growth, supporting businesses, but sharing it work so that the people in California get what they need. Thank you. And going after corporate special interests is the way we're going to.
I mean, what do you want me to do? Disagree with that? I'm with you, Diet Pepsi. RTP supporting a billionaire? He just said that the way that you fix this is you force basically profit sharing. That last part. I mean, this guy sounds like Mom Donnie.
Supporting businesses, but sharing it work so that the people in California get what they need. Thank you. And going after corporate special interests is the way we're going to.
That sounds like me. He was interviewed by Hassan, and even Hassan couldn't help but want to support him. It is. I think it's fucking up a lot of people. I haven't seen Hassan. I did see Vosh, a clip from Vosh, kind of the same, saying the same thing. He's taking "Eat the Rich" as a threat. Do I trust him? No, I don't trust any of these people, though. Right? And I'm not voting in California, and it's not like I make endorsements on this shit, anyways. But I will say that, like, when I went through what he's been doing, I looked through, like, it's hard to find dirt on him outside of, like, he's a billionaire. You saw the Hassan interview and it blew my mind. I should watch it. I didn't know he did. Tom's okay. I think Tom Steyer is going to win. I mean, if you go look at the polling, I think he's going to win. I'm with a lot of you on Katie Porter. I would prefer Katie Porter. That's been my candidate the entire time. But I do think He's gonna pick up. I think Becerra's fucked. Is it Becerra? I think he's. It was not a good night for him. Here's Steve Hilton. Doing this doesn't work in California. Like, this works in red states. This type of shit isn't going to work. I think Steve Hilton had a bad night. I think Bianco had a bad night, but Bianco had a bad night because he was honest. So it just depends on how people view him. I don't think any Republican had a good night. I think Tom Steyer is legitimately the only one who had a good night last night, because he's the only one that a lot of people like myself would be like, I don't want another fucking billionaire running California. And then you hear him and you're like, fuck. All right, I don't know if I trust him, but that sounds good. Here's Steve Hilton busting out the fucking stolen election shit.
Mr. Hilton, just to clarify on the question about the seizure of the ballots in Riverside County, do you believe that Sheriff Bianco took the right step there?
I'm not going to weigh in on something that I...
What he's talking about there is Sheriff Bianco seized a bunch of ballots. I don't even know how the fuck Sheriff Bianco got the authority to seize ballots. I would have to look through the California state constitution. I don't know how on earth a sheriff can seize ballots, but he did it. So that's what this question's about. Sorry. I
don't have the knowledge.
Ballots in Riverside County. Do you believe that Sheriff Bianco took the right step there?
I'm not going to weigh in on something that I don't have the knowledge of the facts on. I trust that Chad is interested in what we should all be interested in, which is ensuring the integrity of our elections and restoring faith in our elections in California.
Stop lying then. You're not restoring faith in our elections. You're making it worse. Every time these dumbass Republicans trot out this old tired line, and they're doing it just for Donald Trump. This is a performance for Donald Trump. If you want people to trust the elections, you've got to stop lying. You've got to stop pretending that the election was stolen in 2020.
That's why I support voter ID in California. Let's see what these Democrats think of voter ID.
Secretary Becerra, your response to Mr. Hilton.
Yeah, first, Steve, read the law. In order to remove ballots, you have to follow a process. Sheriff Bianco didn't follow it. If you're not going to enforce the law as governor, then why would you want to sit in the office?
Yeah. You got two people here who are comfortable breaking the law for Donald Trump, and they're performing for Donald Trump, which is what you have to do for Trump voters too. You literally just campaign on Trump is great. 2020 was stolen. That's not even debatable. Well, it's been every court case you've been ruled against. This is what I don't get any of you. That's a fucking insane thing to say. It's not debatable. Ian, come up and debate it. Give me one verified piece of information that says the election in 2020 was stolen. Just give me one thing. You can even put it in the chat. Tell me one thing that has been confirmed in the 2020 election that would have changed any outcome whatsoever. Then you get a little bit of some attacks here on Bianco. Somebody earlier said that the voters won't care because it's Bianco, but this made me laugh.
Bianco, on this issue of leadership, I saw the two of you chatting earlier, you and Mr. Hilton.
Electric Dad said, I'm voting for Tom Steyer.
You've actually had some harsh words for your fellow Republican on the stage tonight. You've called him, quote, unethical and dishonest, and said that he is trying to...
You still trust the establishment and don't trust billionaires, which are part of it? Who the fuck do you... where do you think you are, Daniel? Wrong stream, sweetheart. Wrong stream. This is a very anti-establishment stream.
Quote, manipulate Californians and, quote, swindled his way into the Republican side. Are you saying that you don't think Republican voters can trust Mr. Hilton?
Well, I will tell you, I don't know where that came from. I wouldn't tell you in my entire life. I don't think I've used the word swindle, so I don't know if you were quoting something or if you were saying that.
It's a quote from you to The Atlantic.
No, I've never used the word swindle.
I just said that I would probably vote for Katie Porter, and my vote for Katie Porter has nothing to do with Tom Steyer being a billionaire. I think Katie Porter has better plans. Renee, how do you misunderstand everything? Every day.
Have Steve and I disagreed? Absolutely we have. Have we had our quite big disagreements and battles in this election because he's running his campaign, I'm running mine.
But you're denying that you said these quotes.
No, I'm saying that I don't know where that came from. I would never use the word swindled. But
He did. There's a recording of it, by the way.
Context, yes, I have said that. It's unethical that I'm the only person up here that their entire existence in their job revolves around honesty, integrity, and leadership.
Renee, I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican. Just give me a Republican that's running on something that makes any fucking sense. I said yesterday I would vote if a Republican was voting on ending Citizens United and supporting single-payer health care, and they were running against a Democrat who didn't want to end Citizens United and wanted to just increase competition for health care, I would vote for the Republican. Easy. I could give a fuck about party allegiance.
I'm the only one. Right now, lying can get me removed from my job.
Can I just clarify?
Unlike what they're saying.
With you, because
This made me laugh. Chad Bianco said, I'm the only one here that can't lie during my job. This man has multiple lawsuits against him currently, multiple reports, multiple lawsuits tied to his tenure regarding the sudden rise once he was in charge in custody deaths. Multiple lawsuits currently. People in custody started dying at a much higher rate once he was in charge. They say that the use of excessive force has been expanded upon, it's been overlooked, and that there's inadequate oversight, that they're performing their own internal investigations, and in many cases, no evidence that they're even performing investigations. The California Department of Justice has an open investigation into unconstitutional policing and jail conditions in Riverside County. And then, of course, in 2026, just recently, I think that was in February, he seized hundreds of thousands of ballots where he has no legal right. I haven't found any legal right, saying that the case was built on thin evidence and that he ignored the state orders that he could not seize those ballots. He just did it anyways because Donald Trump said so. And this guy's like, I'm the only one required to be honest. Yeah, for sure. Cops never lie. That's one thing we know for sure. If you're a cop, you never lie. Cops lie all the time and nothing happens to them. It might be one of the best places to be employed if you are a liar.
this says it's from an interview with KBAK that happened in April of this year, where you said he's trying to figure out how he can manipulate Californians to put him in this position in a time when we know that California Democrats have failed and we are going to vote for a Republican governor, and he has swindled his way into the Republican side, even though he's not.
I probably did say that. I didn't use the word swindled, whatever it was. But that context, I will agree with that 100%.
So
I do believe that.
Okay, so you did say the quote.
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Hilton?
He's so slimy. Yeah, I live in Mesa, Arizona. You want to look at police investigating themselves and how well that goes. They lie all the fucking time. All right, now here was what I think ends. Is it Becerra? Is that how you say that? Becerra? Here's what I think ends him, because this is a problem. Again, billionaire. You would expect the billionaire to be taking money from billionaires, and you would expect somebody like Xavier Becerra what was he? Was he the one that was the mayor of? I know he was the HHS secretary, and maybe he was a former congressman. Let's see. He was secretary of HHS. I don't know what else he's done. Anyways, Tom Stein, you got a billionaire like, hey, you're owned by the oil and gas lobbyists.
Being
attorney general. Okay,
bed with oil companies is a mistake. Javier Becerra has taken the max amount of money from Chevron, and he has said they're good guys that we need. The truth of the matter is the oil companies are ripping us off at the pump. They're polluting our air, and they're burning up the planet.
Chevron, that's the problem with politics. They're not the bad guy. You need Chevron. I need Chevron. My people of the state of California need Chevron.
It's pronounced Javier. Okay, thanks.
Chevron wants to give me a check. That's their prerogative.
I am the person on this state.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out, dude. Oh, there's nothing. I don't have any there's no influence there. If they want to give me a check, that's fine. I'll take their money. Yeah, I'm out forever.
Who is fighting the oil companies. And the way that you know is they're spending millions of dollars to prevent me from getting elected.
Well, why not give back your billions?
By Sarah is how you say that? By Sarah? Thank you.
Dollars
that I will make polluters pay. And the truth of the matter is Every environmentalist in this state has endorsed me. All right, and the people who are opposing me, you can just follow the money. The oil companies, the electric monopolies are spending tens of millions of dollars against me. The environmentalists are to a person supporting me. That's what's going on in this election.
Yeah, California is running a deficit. They cover that here. What's the Republicans' plan to not have a deficit? Cut taxes. That'll do it. Can any of you? You can criticize California all you want. Can any of you tell me what either Hilton or Bianco, what their plan is to balance the budget? But that's a no for me. Baisara, is that what I say his last name? It's a no for me on Baisara. Then there was it's this one. There's Hilton. Then went after Baisara too. I think it was a bad night for Baisara. I think he's done.
Is that it's a bit rich for Javier to talk about following the law when he is mired personally in a corruption scandal where his former chief of staff, Sean McCluskey, when Javier was appointed by Joe Biden to be health secretary, he wanted his chief of staff to go with him. The salary wasn't enough. So what did they do? They took money from Javier's campaign account to top up his salary by funneling it to Dana Williamson, Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff, so that it was paid to this guy's wife. All of that is illegal. It is against state law. It's against federal law. My running mate for Attorney General, Michael Gates, has this evening written to Javier Becerra to make it clear that when he is Attorney General, Javier will be investigated.
Thank you.
And if necessary...
That's a problem. That's a problem. I looked it up. It's true. I don't know what their justification for it is, but it's true. This is dirty politics. This is figuring out ways to pay people. I'm guessing that if they went through this, like all these ethics committees, what they're going to say is they found a loophole and they let him do it. Didn't he fire him after he found out? I don't know how long after. Still, it's a problem. I'm out. Who said you want me to see? You got to ask better questions. Somebody said, curious on your, who was that? So Callie, curious on your take of defending California Democrat policies. Dude, I don't know all their policies. I don't defend Democrats in general, but if you have specific policies, I'll tell you whether or not I like them. We can look them up. I'm not in California. All right. Then this one. This is the one I really wanted to hear. The talking point, by the way, weird video. The CNN put this out. I don't know why they chose their own stretched out version of this. This is like CNN's actual account. Whoever's running CNN's Twitter account needs to figure it the fuck out. But if you remember when the National Guard was called in to California during the protests over ICE, they showed up and they didn't do a goddamn thing. They just sat there. There was like 3 cars that were, I think, overturned. I don't remember if they were even set on fire or not, but let's just, for argument's sake, say that they were set on fire. The National Guard didn't stop any of that. And the talking point from Republicans is that the whole state would have burned down if the National Guard didn't show up and sit in a fucking parking lot for a week. And then they had to leave. They were forced to leave because they weren't allowed to be there. There was nothing they could do. It was Waymos. Yeah, they were Waymos. Thank you, S. Papas. It literally was like 3 cars. In the biggest state, most populated state in the country. And Republicans have gotten more use out of those 3 Waymos to try and discredit. And if your argument about California and immigration and sanctuary cities relies on, hey, 3 Waymos were tipped over, I don't think you have a very good argument. You should probably have a better argument. But here, this is a little longer clip. The candidates were all asked specifically about immigration enforcement. And before this gets started, let's remind everybody what it means to be a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state. What it means is that the state or the city or the county has decided that they will not use state funds to do federal jobs. So if the federal government comes in to do immigration enforcement, the state or the city or the county or the municipality says, we're not going to use our funds to help you. You are funded by the federal government. We are funded to do a specific job here. We're not going to help you. What it doesn't mean is that people are protected in that city. So, for example, thousands of people who were in custody who had illegal status in this country were handed over to DHS and to ICE. Thousands. They openly work with ICE and DHS to make sure that if somebody winds up in jail in these municipalities, that ICE or DHS can come and get them. Now, the city won't deliver them. The city won't go out and help capture them for immigration violations because that's not their role. So before we start this, we just need to be clear on what a sanctuary city is. It is not what Republicans tell you is. And I can see already, you guys are fucking hysterical about this. And this is what sucks about our country is you have been so propagandized that you don't know what any of this stuff means. You just listen to your politicians lie. And then you think, oh, a sanctuary city is a place where if you are here and you're undocumented, that nobody can touch you. That is just not the case. It just means that city, state, or municipality is not going to use their own funds to do the role of the federal government. Oslo said, one thing I wish more people understood about California Democratic voters is they are not as far left as the rest of the country believes. Facts. It's a very moderate state. It's not that different than how the United States federal government operates. They don't tax enough and they overspend. That's why they have budget deficits. They don't collect enough taxes for their spending. And if you're a Republican criticizing that today and you are a fan of Donald Trump or legitimately any Republican president of your lifetime, then we can't take you seriously because that's what Republicans do. They undertax and overspend.
California's Attorney General.
Sky Fox says rural Oklahoma residents whining about California being a shithole is hilarious. Yeah. Imagine that. Just a reminder before this plays, we are crowdfunded. I appreciate you guys. And to keep Jen's stress level low, if we kept a steady stream, that would be great. And I'll update the total in a minute. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, those are the best ways to contribute because they take less of a percentage, but you can also send super chats. And as a reminder to any Republican who's here who wants to actually discuss these things in person, you can message JenDub1, JENNDUBB1 on Discord, and we can bring you up. And we do have paid memberships. If you want to join us tonight to watch the company retreat in our Discord, you just need to be a paid member either on YouTube or Twitch, and then message Jen on Discord, and she'll get you in.
To be able to hold both ICE agents and their leadership criminally liable for what you say is, quote, violent illegal conduct on the job. Does that include
a steady stream at RTP's age? Hey, the flow is still going at my age. I'm careful about that.
The former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who oversaw the ICE operations in Los Angeles last year?
Look, the governor of California should hold people accountable who break the laws of California, specifically including ICE agents and the people who send them to racially profile, which is illegal, and use violence against Californians, which is illegal. And it should go up the chain to the supervisors, right up to Stephen Miller. If he's sending people to racially profile and hurt Californians or kill Californians, he should be held liable. It is not legal for federal agents to come to California and break the law. It is absolutely critical that California's governor does stand up for everyone in California. That in fact, ICE to me is a criminal operation. I've said all along.
Again, if you didn't know he was a billionaire, you'd be like, this is my guy. He says all the right things. Amber said, I was driving earlier. I think I figured out Jen's dating life. It's to bring new viewers to the show. That's right.
We should abolish ICE. It's breaking the law. It is coming here deliberately to break the law. And that's why I'm saying we should hold them accountable. We should inspect the detention centers that they have in secret.
So just to
we
clarify,
should have a legal
Robert, stay on subject, okay?
defense fund. Yes, I do. I don't know. I would go all the way up the chain. I've gone as far as Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller should be held accountable for what the ICE agents do in California.
Tell me what I shouldn't like about this guy, Ronald, outside of the fact that he's a billionaire, which you can't become without being unethical. What about what he's saying should I disagree with?
Yeah, that he sends.
But just to clarify, since Kristi Noem was the Senate-confirmed Department of Homeland Security Secretary, do you believe that she is someone who should be prosecuted?
If she has given the orders to break the law in California, yes.
Sheriff Bianco, what's your response to that?
Prove it.
No one has broken the law in California. And this is why.
Mr. Law and Order. Fuck the justice system. Nobody's broken the law. Why did the National Guard have to leave? How come they didn't get to stay there? If they weren't breaking the law, how come they had to leave?
We fight in the streets and people are out rioting, burning down Los Angeles because politicians like this sit and lie to everyone.
I'm sorry. Is California being burned down? I was in LA shooting a Jubilee video while this was happening. I drove through LA. It was fine. Nothing, literally nothing was on fire. This guy lives in Riverside. I drove through Riverside to get to LA. Nothing was on fire. It's fine. It's still a cool city. None of this happened. Why do Republicans have to lie to you in order to get you scared enough to vote for them?
Why we fight in the streets and people are out rioting, burning down Los Angeles because politicians like this sit and lie to everyone.
Do you remember when we did this? I kept pulling up like live cams from LA, and we went through like 20 different live streams, and like nothing was on fire while we're watching Fox News go, the whole city is on fire.
They get them all infuriated up with emotion because they don't want to tell the truth. ICE agents are enforcing the law.
We got to tell the truth, like LA was on fire. Infuriated up with emotion. LA, the whole city was on fire, says him, and then he accuses everybody else of being hyperbolic. Nice.
And sanctuary state policy, Democrats forced
Robert, shut the fuck up. I asked you to stay on topic. We can talk about the fires later. Robert, last morning, stay on topic.
ICE into our cities and streets and neighborhoods to find these criminals. And I want Mr. Villaraigosa to tell the mother of the 14-year-old in my county that is dead because of an illegal immigrant that had been deported 3 times because of DUIs that sanctuary state policy keeps us safe.
What does that have to do with sanctuary state policy? He was deported 3 times by, I'm assuming, the federal government. Then he came back across the border, which is guarded by the federal government. He got caught again and was deported by the federal government. How is the state responsible for this? It sounds like every time he got arrested for a state crime, that the state arrested him and turned him over to the federal government deported him, and then he came back through the border, which is guarded by the federal government. Can somebody explain to me and Chad Bianco how this is the fault of California? Sounds like they kept catching him doing crimes and he was being deported.
I don't think she's going to agree with you. And the mother of my dispatcher that was killed is not going to agree with you.
Mayor Villaraigosa, do you want to respond?
If an undocumented worker killed somebody, he should go to jail. He should be prosecuted.
Which he did. 3 times, it sounds like.
It's too late, don't you think? How about the 3 DUIs before that? No.
How do we know he had a DUI? How do you know about his 3 DUIs, Chad? Was that ICE? Was it DHS? Did they catch him with the DUI? See how incoherent this is? This sounds like a failure by the federal government. With Chad Bianco, if he went in and he said, we're no longer a sanctuary state, what would have changed? They would have arrested him, turned him over to federal authorities, and he would have come back, just like he did. What would have changed here? They're just weaponizing the death of a 14-year-old, which is sad. It's sad that they're weaponizing it. And they don't actually have a solution. His solution wouldn't change anything. He's saying they would cooperate with feds. They're already cooperating with feds. That's how the federal government kept getting him. Everything he's saying he would do is actually being done in this sanctuary state.
No,
or do you want to be the bully that you always are?
No,
you know, you're an oath keeper. We all know that.
True.
And I'm very proud of it.
Well, you should.
I'm very proud of it. And guess what? You're going to swear an oath, and you swore an oath. You should know what you were swearing.
Yeah, to the Constitution. The oath keepers swear an oath to each other. That's why they got convicted of seditious conspiracy. They were loyal to themselves rather than the Constitution. I like all oaths. All right.
And be proud of defending it.
Don't think an oath keeper is qualified.
All right, Duke, we're going to walk through this. Guys, we're going to stop and talk to Duke for a second. Duke said sanctuary states don't cooperate. That's the sanctuary part. Okay, Duke, how did this person get deported 3 times then? Let's walk through this, Duke. The man was arrested for DUI. How did the federal government get him and deport him? How did that happen? If they're not cooperating, how did the federal government break into the jail and deport him? How'd they get him? I got to go take a Duke. We're all about to take a Duke. What do I know about, think of Matt Mahan? I don't know that much about him. He's polling very low. He didn't have a bunch of moments. Duke, are you going to run now? You're not going to answer this one? I feel like I do, it sucks that I have to say it's like we've explained this like 10 times already. This is like in-person cognitive dissonance. We're watching it in real time. We've explained it 10 times and he's like, this is the problem. Yeah. The problem is the federal government doesn't seem very good.
To be governor
I don't think you know what an oath keeper is.
Let me.
Did they actually get him from the jail? Yes. Yes. They did, Duke of Florida. Thousands. They turn over thousands of people who are here undocumented who get arrested, and they turn them over to the federal government. What they don't do is deliver them to the federal government. The federal government is required to come and get them. And sometimes what happens is there are laws that say you can't keep somebody, like for a DUI, for example, you can't just keep somebody locked up for a DUI for a month. If they're eligible for a bond, you can't change the rules because they're undocumented. You have to follow the state laws apply to everybody. That's what due process is. So there are times, this happened in Minnesota a bunch of times, that they lied about, where they would arrest somebody, they would contact DHS, and they had like a 48-hour window before they had to release the person. DHS didn't get there within 48 hours. And by law, they were required to release that person. You can't just say, oh, fuck it, we'll give DHS another day. Then you're advocating that the state violate the law. When we tell you that everything you believe is a lie, this is what we're talking about. And the reason that they lie to you about this so much is because they don't actually fucking care about this either. They just want you to be angry to vote for them so they can keep cashing checks and giving tax cuts to billionaires and just hand the wealth over to the billionaires while you're blaming immigrants.
Answer the question.
Eyewitness cops standing on their hands while ICE agents arresting people. Liar. It was on the news. Liar. No, I agree. I'm not lying about that. This is what we explained about sanctuary cities. They don't participate in ICE arrests. That's what a sanctuary city is. They say we are not going to use our resources, our taxpayer money that we pay police for, to do federal ICE raids. That's actually what a sanctuary city does. And if you disagree with that, that's fine. Then we can disagree on the reality of what a sanctuary city is. But you guys don't argue about what a sanctuary city is. Are you saying that sanctuary cities worked with ICE? Yes. They just don't do enforcement with ICE. Yes, thousands of people have been turned over in the last year in California in sanctuary cities to DHS. See, it's just all fear-mongering with all of you. You effing know these sanctuary cities help promote violence. How? They don't. They just don't do the federal government's job. That's what a sanctuary city is. There it is. Thank you. California sanctuary. Thank you. There we go, Duke. Generally prohibits local law enforcement from notifying ICE about or holding undocumented immigrants purely for immigration purposes. Yes. Let's follow the California Values Act. It says that it limits state and local law enforcement from using resources for federal immigration enforcement. It restricts police from questioning individuals about immigration status, sharing private information with ICE, or transferring individuals for deportation, making California a sanctuary state. Yeah, that's exactly what I just explained. They don't do the federal government's job. Sorry, fund the federal government. It's not the state's role to fund the federal government. What do you want them to do? It prevents law enforcement from entering new contracts to house detainees for ICE, limits participation in federal immigration task forces. Law enforcement can cooperate with federal agents when individuals have been convicted of a certain serious or violent crimes outlined in the act. I don't know exactly what those are. Where's the part that says that they can't turn people over? What part of the act does it say that? I don't see that in here. No. You did not paste the law exactly. No, you didn't. You're lying. That was an AI overview of it. That's not what a sanctuary city is. Well, then this is explaining it. This is the California Values Act that you guys just cited, making them a sanctuary city. So what's a sanctuary city? What part of illegal don't you understand? I understand all of it. What part of the Constitution and the roles of the states and the federal government do you not understand? All of it. I just want everybody to go after immigrants.
I said, if an
Wouldn't that be a crime to ignore the federal government? I don't know what you mean.
undocumented person committed murder, they should be held accountable. They should go to jail. And you keep on saying that sanctuary prevents violent criminals from being turned over.
I said it prevents
In fact,
criminals.
as I said earlier.
I said it prevents criminals. Don't lie for me.
In fact, as I said earlier, thousands have been turned over since 2019.
Obviously
and
not enough.
Steve Hilton, let me...
He just admitted. Chad Bianco just admitted it. He just admitted that they're turning over thousands of people. Whoops.
Be clear. You know, I know you're recently arrived to California, but if you've read the Bay Area Institute, the UC Merced study, immigrants, if we took them all out, including the undocumented, it would be a $274 billion hit to the California
Sheriff Bianco,
economy.
just to follow.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that hit to the economy? Try to get into Mexico illegally? What does that have to do with anything? If you think it's too easy to get into this country illegally, then change the laws. Like, right? Why haven't Republicans changed any laws on immigration? Why not? If you guys care so much about this, if it's too easy, why don't you change the law? How come the Republicans haven't put forward anything to change the law? Ronald, relax, pal. Look, I've witnessed... all right, Ronald, give me an example of immigrants destroying our country. Just explain it to me. Yeah, but hold on. Duke said they're also letting thousands go. Correct, Duke. Because if you get arrested for an offense in California and that offense doesn't allow you to detain them any longer, you can't keep them in jail. It is not the role of the state government to do federal immigration enforcement. I don't know why this is so hard for any of you to understand. You're literally asking for them to do things that are unconstitutional. It's only easy when you come illegally. Okay, so change the laws then. Semper Rick, why have the Republicans not changed the law? All right, let's talk about the proposed billionaire tax. This was actually interesting to me. Katie Porter's answer here was interesting to me. I disagreed with it at first, but I think she's right.
Talk about the proposed billionaire tax. Just last week, a one-time 5% tax on the assets of billionaires cleared a critical hurdle to make the
laws are there. Democrat cities just don't enforce the laws. Yeah, because Democrat cities are cities inside of a motherfucking state, and it's not their job to enforce federal law. The federal law enforcement enforces federal fucking law. If you don't like that, move to a country where the federal government enforces all the laws. We live in a constitutional republic where the rights not granted to the federal government are then delegated to the states. So if the federal government says immigration law is a federal program, then the states don't fucking do it. It's not their fucking job. They're not supposed to do it. Stop bitching about the Constitution, please. Change the fucking law.
Ballot in November, setting up a clash over what could be the nation's first wealth tax. Congresswoman Porter, Mr. Steyer, as we just referenced, is the only billionaire on the stage. He supports this tax. You do not. Why not?
Because I support good ideas, not things that help me dodge political potholes due to my own background. This billionaire's tax is simply not good tax policy. And anybody who has watched me in Congress take on bank CEOs, take on pharma CEOs, challenge them for the fact that their workers can't make ends meet while they're pocketing $26 million a year, knows that I will speak truth to power. And here,
by the way, Duke, I agree with you. California's law does say if it's not a violent felony or a serious felony, that they don't notify immigration authorities. That part is true. We finally got to a part where you and I agree about what the law says. We did it.
here's the truth. This tax isn't going to fundamentally change California's economy in the way that young people and the working people of California need. It's a one-time tax, but we don't have one-time revenue needs. It taxes billionaires, as if half billionaires don't have two nickels to rub together and couldn't chip in a little bit more. And 90% of the money is dedicated to only one thing, when we have all kinds of revenue problems coming at us from our own decisions and Donald Trump. So yes, to a progressive tax code. Yes, to the wealthy paying more, but this tax is about cheap political points. It is not about really fundamentally changing California's economy for the better. That's going to take real political courage.
That's a really good answer, honestly. A one-time tax fixes a budget shortfall, but it like if you don't make any substantive changes outside of that, it's not going to fix your budget shortfalls. Phoenix says there's an infamous migrant that's destroying our country. He's stolen, cheated, lied, and took federal money. His name is Musk, I think. Yeah. Yeah. We have a problem. We don't have a problem with Elon Musk, though, right? He's not a problem. He wasn't here illegally, right? We'll let that slide. If he was a Democrat, if he was like giving money to Democrats, they'd demand he be deported. George said, here's $5 to tell Robert to go fuck himself and stay on topic. Thank you, JJ, and all the mods. You're the best part of my day. Appreciate that. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. Anything you could do to help us knock out that gift goal by the end of the live would be greatly appreciated. Let's get the response here from Tom Steyer. She's saying she wants perpetual billionaires tax. No, she said she specifically said she wants a progressive tax system, not necessarily a progressive billionaires tax. She just wants a more progressive tax system. So it wouldn't specifically target billionaires. It would say like the as your income goes up, like so does your tax rate.
Mr. Steyer, just about cheap political points, your response?
No. I have said that billionaires like me should pay more taxes and the big corporations should pay more taxes.
Excuse me,
and
you
that's
literally
why
said...
if this proposition is on the ballot in November, I'll vote for it. But going forward, we do need to go further. This is a one-time tax, and it also doesn't spread the money across the government the way everything else does. And specifically, it doesn't go to education and teachers and students, which is a critical need in the state of California. The tax I'm proposing to close a corporate real estate tax loophole is more money, and it's spread throughout the country.
I think that's a good answer, too. That's a good answer. If this bill comes up and I'm governor, I'm going to sign it, but we need a more progressive tax system. I just like, again, if you've been around, you know I'm a big fan of Katie Porter. That's a better answer.
Balanced budgets.
Congressman.
I'm confused. Do you support the billionaires tax that is going to be on the ballot in November, yes or no?
Katie, I just said I will vote for it if it's on the ballot in November.
So
Brianna said, hey, Robert, since you're in Trump's asshole, what tastes better, the filet of fish or Putin's cream pie? Good question.
And so what I've said is,
but you just said it wasn't a good idea.
Go far enough that, in fact, it is a one-time tax, and it also doesn't spread the money throughout the government. Look,
let me weigh in.
Have an education
I'm the only
system.
candidate that's actually balanced to budget.
We're going to bring Sheriff Bianco.
It's honestly, he did really well. His answers are great. Well, you can decide whether or not you trust him, but that's a great answer.
Bianco in first, and then we'll get to you, Mr. Mayor. Sheriff Bianco.
Thank you. So these Democrat policies of tax everybody to death and make them leave is how we started this program off to begin with. Everyone is leaving California, and it's because of their horrific policies. I agree with Katie that this is a horrific tax bill, but she is wrong on one thing. This is not a billionaire tax bill. You just have to read it and read what it is. I have spent my career suffering the consequences of their decisions and their policy that they love talking about. I am the one that deals with it. And
Huh? As sheriff, you suffer the consequences of billionaires being taxed? What the fuck is he talking about?
the 140,000 people that are paying 50% of the taxes are going to leave. And then the wording of that bill makes the middle class and the lower middle class make up all those taxes.
Thank you, sir. The next question.
It doesn't. It's based on income brackets. This is why let's see if this is the right one from Pew. Somebody can dispute this all you want. This is the share of aggregate income held by U.S. middle class since 1970. You can see middle class in 1970 held 62% of the income. It was massive. We're down 20%. The middle class is down 20%. The upper income is up 21%. So who benefited from trickle-down economics? This is very clear. Who gets more money now? In 1970, what was the top marginal tax rate? And let's see, top marginal tax rate in 1970 was, pull this up. %71. Look at what it was. Tell me about your grandparents, Republicans. Let's talk about this. Tell me about your parents and your grandparents. I bet most of your grandparents came from a one-income household. My dad, where's my mouse? There it is. My dad was born in 1948. Very old. Top marginal rate was 82%. By the time I think my dad got married around here, built a nice middle-class income for himself in the 70s and the 80s, and business was booming. And then we dropped the top marginal tax rate down to 28% here in the early 90s, and it's been around 35-ish%. This has been trickle-down economics most of my life. Going back to this chart here, what happens when you cut taxes for the rich? They get all the fucking money. What happens when you have a higher marginal or top marginal tax rate? The middle class expands. So what makes my dad conservative? He doesn't know any of this. What makes him conservative is the same thing that makes the conservatives in this chat conservative. They just believe shit. They just hear shit. They're like, New York and California are shitty. Okay, they pay all of our bills. The richest people in the country are like in New York and California, and they've had the highest taxes forever. How'd that happen? Phoenix said I got that one already. Gotcha. Pretty easy to understand. Unless your ideology is just like a theory that trickle-down economics will someday work, which it's not going to work. It doesn't work. Yeah, good point. They don't pay all of the bills? All right, which states pay the most in federal taxes? California pays 16% of the federal taxes are paid by California. 16%. If it was divided up equally, it would be 2%, right? They pay as much as like what should be eight states. 16% of the federal taxes are paid by California. But they don't pay the bills? It's not Mississippi paying the bills here. Which states have a net negative for taxes? Let's look at that. Let's see. So how do I word that? Which states are welfare states? I guess we could say, right? As of 2024, there's 19 states that are donor states, meaning they pay more than they take in. So let's get there. All this loads. Pull this up here. Virginia. Let's see, balance of funds. Let's see, states to federal, federal to states. Okay, so Virginia's a net loss. Alabama takes in less. Look at this is a red state city. Virginia, Alabama, South Carolina, New Mexico, Mississippi, Arizona, Michigan, just barely. Louisiana, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Maryland, West Virginia, Oregon, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Hawaii, Maine, Alaska, Wisconsin, Idaho, Montana, Iowa. These are all pretty negligible. And then these look like they're pretty much break even. The states that paid more, that's still break even. Look at California. California gets $276 billion in federal taxes, and they pay more than $800 billion. Who's paying these bills? Look at New York, takes in $76 billion, sends out just under $400 billion. Texas, another one, $68 billion, send out a little over $400 billion. California by far, like we are fucked without California. Absolutely fucked without California. Some of these states would just go away. Red states would just go under. Keep talking shit about California while they pay your bills. California has $1.7 trillion in debt. Yeah, they still pay all the bills. It doesn't change any of this argument. We're fucked without California. I'm okay without California. No, you wouldn't be. The federal government would have to make drastic reductions without California. Appreciate it. All right, moving on. Let's get to insurance, because this is the stuff that I actually care about.
Are dropping insurance coverage after Congress, millions of people are dropping insurance coverage after Congress allowed Obamacare subsidies to expire. In California, new enrollments are down 32%. Secretary Becerra, in late March, you said you'd, quote, deliver a state-run, publicly funded health care program for every Californian.
Love it.
But in a recent meeting, you reportedly told a group of doctors...
Walter said, thanks for breaking down the California governor's race. You got it, Walter.
...that you are not supporting single payer right now. So which is it? Would you push for single payer as governor or not?
Alex, let's be clear. I've been consistent for over 30 years. When I was in Congress, I talked about how Medicare for all is probably the most efficient way that we can do healthcare, and I have always been there. I haven't changed. And so those reports were inaccurate. I continue to be for Medicare for all, and I can show you how I have actually expanded healthcare, because those very subsidies that you mentioned are what help us reach record levels of Obamacare coverage. More than 24.5 million people under our watch were able to get their health insurance coverage. That is now going down because Trump has denied people the chance to have those subsidies. And the Republicans and Mr. Hilton, who has been endorsed by Donald Trump, haven't said whether they would fight to help those Californians regain their coverage. And so, Steve, will you support having those tax subsidies for Obamacare returned to those Californians who are losing their insurance today?
We didn't get an answer.
We're gonna. First of all, I just want to clarify real quick, and then we'll get you guys in. So, as governor, you're pushing for a single payer system in California?
We should try to get to a Medicare.
Amber, you got a lot of feelings, dummy. Argue with the facts. Facts are that they pay 16%, or I guess it was 18% of our federal taxes. That's what we're talking about here, and you're just talking about your feelings. Get it together.
For all program, and while we are continuing to work in that direction, we should make sure we are expanding coverage, because the most important thing we have to do is give people peace of mind that they can afford their health care, and that we will continue to give it to more families.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Steyer.
Look, I am for single payer. Absolutely, because the only way we can deliver health care as a
billionaire, man. It's the fucking, again, the billionaire is just like, give me single payer. And why?
Right, at a cost that California can afford. And that's why the nurses...
It's better. It's more cost effective. All right. Thanks, billionaire guy. Keep being right.
support me. I was with them this morning. They know that I will fight for single payer until we get it. And maybe those reports were wrong, Javier. But the truth is, the group you are with, the California Medical Association, is the strongest group against single payer in the state. And they just spent the maximum amount of money.
The California Teachers Union will never allow it because they have great insurance policies for their employees. Robert, you've been here long enough to know that that's a dumb fucking thing to say. The Teachers Union would absolutely do it because they would have to spend less on insurance and there would be no copay, well, I don't know exactly what theirs is, but if it's mirrored after Bernie Sanders, no copay, no deductible. This would be a huge one. Then you would pay then what they would do is, because they negotiate wages for teachers and they negotiate these insurance plans, so they would have cheaper insurance, meaning that they could raise the pay of teachers. Robert, you've been here long enough to learn some shit. You don't just keep saying dumb things. Teachers would get paid more if this went in, or not necessarily. They could be paid more. And the teachers unions, you don't think they would negotiate more pay for their teachers if you cut the cost because you're no longer paying for private health insurance, the most expensive in the world? This is basic economics. And the biggest problem we have, the biggest separation between progressives and conservatives is an understanding of basic economics and how math works. It's ideology versus math and science. And the thing that sucks is that when you're dealing with an ideologue, math and science don't fucking matter. All that matters to them is their feelings and rhetoric. This is dollars and cents. Everybody would have health care and it would be cheaper. Nobody wants private health insurance. It's not better. No matter how good the health insurance is, you're not going to have worse health insurance if everything's covered and you don't have a copay and a deductible. And because you've brought in now everybody under the same plan, it's cheaper because you've dispersed the risk. This is like, why do you think insurance programs want more people on their insurance so they can spread out the risk? So if you take all of California, think of all the people that have health insurance in California in these different plans. If you put them all under one plan, the risk is spread out. The California's government's ability to negotiate lower prices is pretty fucking easy at that point. Pretty fucking easy. What are all the doctors going to do? They're going to leave because they're not dealing with private health insurance anymore. You think doctors want to deal with private health insurance? Don't you think doctors want to be able to just send, every time a patient comes in, they just send a bill to one person? Don't you think doctors would like to pay less overhead on paying people to deal with each different private health insurance? Yeah, they would love that. Everybody would love this. The only people who don't love this is Republicans, who are sold a lie that single-payer healthcare is communism bad, therefore you can't like it. But the math just makes too much sense, which is why you have every Democrat on stage in the biggest state in the country, which again is not a far-left state. They are very moderate. They are far from far left. They've been very friendly specifically to like big business. Everybody on stage on the Democrat side knows that they have to run on single payer. Why? Because it just makes sense mathematically.
They maxed out to your campaign after that meeting. So somebody didn't understand something because they are supporting you with the max amount of money that they can give.
Secretary Becerra responds, then Congresswoman Porter.
Yeah. So a guy who is funding his campaign to a tune of over $150 million with profits made from oil companies, from helping fund private for-profit prisons that are detaining immigrants in California, has a real short memory span of how to make sure this place works. I continue to enjoy the support of healthcare sector.
Again, I kind of agree. Like, I don't like how Tom Steyer got his money, but what's this criticism? That he's self-funded? None of your arguments about single-payer work because you're self-funded? You're not taking money from the health insurance lobby? I don't understand this attack. By the way, for whoever it was that said that Democrats can't be trusted with our money, let's take a look at this. This is federal deficits and surpluses. This is pre-Trump, but red is Republicans, blue are Democrats. Democrats are fiscally more responsible than Republicans always. I can get a more updated chart there, but that's silly too. Again, it's rhetoric versus just actual fucking math for you folks. You can just, instead of just having a feeling, go look something up ever.
Sectors throughout California, doctors, nurses. I've got the endorsement of nurses as well, and I will continue to fight to make sure everyone has access to good quality health care in California, as I proved it when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Congresswoman Porter.
Well, golly gee, I also have the endorsement of nurses, so three's a crowd. The question, I think, is trying to aim at, do you support CalCare, California having its own state-run single-payer system, yes or no?
Is that a question?
Sure, go ahead.
As I said, when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services, I was able to...
Hold on, it costs money to fix the Dems screw up. So when the Dems lower the deficit, it costs money. We have to spend money. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm telling you about all of them. It is 100% ideology. They have no fucking clue. Like, you can just look at the federal budget outlays here. Like, Bush raising the deficit. Clinton largely stayed the same. Bush massively expands the deficit. And then it goes down under Obama. I can pull further years. Like, I can find more updated stuff. Like, it just, you're wrong. Let me go back to Katie Porter here.
Yes or no?
Is that a question?
Sure, go ahead.
As I said, when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services, I was able to...
So is that a yes or a no?
I'm answering the question.
Okay.
So the most important thing about having a Medicare for all plan is that it includes everyone, for all. And what we have to do is get to the point where we are covering everyone with something like Medicare for all. So I am absolutely for Medicare for all.
Congresswoman,
and we will get there. We'll build towards it, because that's the way you get folks covered. Yeah. That's the way I did it.
Congresswoman Porter, then Maria Gosa. Congresswoman.
Covering everyone with something is not single payer. It's not even federal Medicare for all. But you won't say that whether you support California having its own state-run single-payer system. Look, Tom ran against single-payer in his presidency before he changed his mind and has decided to run.
Listen, citizens are not wanting to pay even more under a Democrat. Yeah, this would be cheaper. There's not a single, like, you can't find me a right-wing think tank that can show you that Medicare for all wouldn't be cheaper than what we currently have. We have the most expensive insurance in the world by miles. On average, we pay 4 times what other countries pay. And every other country that has even close to the care that we do, and some of them have better care, they all have single payer. You would pay less. I don't know why I don't know why you guys are holding on to this so bad. You guys will go down with the ship. The cheapest, most affordable healthcare we could have is single payer, and that is basic economics. That is collective bargaining. Like, if you understand anything about economics, you would know that having everybody in this country on the same insurance plan would be more cost effective. If that wasn't true, then insurance companies wouldn't be putting commercials on TV trying to get you to switch. They wouldn't hire sales reps to go around to businesses and get you to switch to their company. It makes it cheaper if we're all on one plan because of collective motherfucking bargaining. And somebody said it's socialist. Yeah, exactly, Amber. You're so afraid of the word socialist that when a good idea shows up that would save you money, you will say no because socialism bad. That's what's crazy. That's why it's frustrating dealing with you guys. You will reject good ideas just to stay and toe the party line.
Or single payer. I'm not disputing that, Tom. I'm making sure everyone knows. And you've been consistent on this point. You've been consistent.
I'm going to answer that.
But I want Javier to answer the question. Do you support California having its own single payer system? Yes or no?
And Katie, the answer there is that Californians don't care what you call it so long as they have affordable health care.
So I'm just going to pick these apart. It's not a good idea. It would cost us more. It would cost the taxpayers more, because guess who would be number one in line to collect that? The rich. Collect what? There's nothing to collect, you dumbass. You go to the doctor gives you care. You go home. The doctor sends the bill to the government sends the money to the doctor. What in Christ's name are you fucking talking about? I just don't think any of you know how healthcare works. Everybody would get the same care, rich or poor. You get the same care. There's nobody to collect money here because you get rid of the insurance companies. They no longer exist. There's literally nobody but doctors being paid for this shit. I know you don't care, Amber. I know you don't. That's the thing. Amber is like all Republicans. And thanks for being here, Amber, for showing how fucking dead-brained all of you are. I don't care if things are better. That as long as it's Democrats, I oppose it. If things are better, and a Democrat came up with the idea, it is therefore bad. I only like things that Republicans say. Like, this is pathetic. Yeah, your opinion's stupid. I have my opinion. Your opinion is literally your opinion that red team good, blue team bad, math no matter, science no matter, big feelings. It's dumb.
That they can use to take their child to the doctor or the hospital
I'd
when
like
they
to use
need
my
it.
magic wand and give everybody.
In Canada, they have a higher approval rate for their health care than we do in our country. And I don't like Canada's system. Canada isn't, they're talking about Medicare for all here, Amber. Let me tell you, it's different. Medicare for all replaces the insurance companies. There is universal health care that I don't like. So if universal health care included paying the doctors and managing the care, I wouldn't be on board with it. I want the insurance industry to disappear, and I want the federal government to act as the insurance for healthcare. So when you start talking about Canada, you're showing once again that you don't know what these people are talking about because they're not advocating for a system like Canada. That's like saying, I go out and I buy a brand new Honda Accord. I'm using Honda because they're very reliable and they have a great track record. And I go buy a 2024 or 2026 Honda Accord, and you're like, you shouldn't get that. And I'm like, why? And you're like, because my neighbor's 84 Datsun doesn't run. Cool. Both cars, they're both vehicles, not even remotely similar. And with a little bit of research, you could figure out that there's evidence that single payer in replacing the insurance industry with the government works. You get better outcomes, you get healthier people, and you get cheaper insurance. You also get cheaper drugs. You also get cleaner food. You also get less people hooked on opiates. You have less people overprescribed. You wind up with a healthier population with cheaper medical care. But Amber doesn't like it, guys, because blue team bad.
Affordable.
It's Mayor Viragosa's turn. Go ahead, sir.
You know, I believe in that healthcare's a right.
Obamacare was a failure, not single payer. Obamacare is private health insurance. None of you know anything. It's just fucking crazy. Shut the fuck up and learn. You literally don't know anything. Obamacare is slightly better than what we had before. It is not single payer. It is the government subsidizing private health insurance, which I am opposed to and is not what they're talking about. They are talking about getting rid of private health insurance. None of you know anything about how this country works. It's bizarre.
Not a privilege, that it should be universal, affordable, and high quality. But the fact is, Javier, I've been in enough forums with you where I've heard you say you're for it, and I've heard you say you're against it.
I've never said I'm against it.
Hold it.
I've never said it.
Let me finish. I've heard you say that you're against it.
And if it's the forum that I said it in.
Can I finish?
If you could just point the forum that I said it, because I've never said it. So
we've been at many forums where you said it, but let me finish the point. It's a $500 billion price tag. You need the federal government. You need Donald Trump to approve it. Our budget is only 350 plus, and next year we're looking at 18 to 35.
Amber likes her outcomes now. The United States is ranked like 48th in outcome, and that's good enough for Amber. All the single payer countries above us that are doing much better than us. Amber likes her outcome because blue team bad, red team good.
$1 billion deficit. People like you are the reason why we keep on spending more than we got. So at the end of the day, let's be clear about this. This is pie in the sky. Yes, we all would like to have health care that's affordable.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
But we won't have a
Secretary
550.
Becerra.
Yeah, Amber wants shittier health care that's 4 times more expensive than everywhere else because she doesn't want a poor person to have health insurance. That's Amber's argument now. I don't like it because I currently like the setup I've paid for and don't care that people who haven't paid don't have insurance. Amber would rather pay 4 times the amount than she should just to make sure poor people don't have insurance. If that is not the encapsulation of the Republican mind, I don't know what the fuck is. I will punch myself in the face repeatedly as long as a poor person doesn't get any help. That is the Christian conservative right for you in a fucking nutshell. I want shittier things so that poor people stay poor. Cool, Amber. Cool.
Response to that argument that this is just too expensive for California. Your response?
Look, healthcare is expensive. But
and yeah, by the way, Amber, you are helping poor people get health insurance. What the fuck do you think Medicare is? What the fuck do you think Medicaid is? You pay taxes on that, you absolute fucking potato. Jesus fucking Christ, you're already paying for it. And it would be cheaper. You would still pay for it, and it would be cheaper. So you would have more money in your pocket at the end of the day. At the end of every month, Amber has more money. And poor people are still getting help. That she's already being taxed for poor people to get help as it is. But Amber wants a worse system because in her mind, poor people don't deserve anything. Did I get that right, Amber? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like that's what you're saying when we're reading your words directly.
what we have.
I literally pointed out the socialist program Medicaid that came from the left that I support. I don't need to give any more money for people who do not. It was less money, Amber. Less money. You would give less money. Less. L-E-S-S. It's the opposite of more. You would pay less motherfucking money for Medicare, which you already pay for. This would turn Medicare into Medicare for all. You would have more goddamn motherfucking money in your pocket, and everybody would have health care. And when you go see a doctor, you wouldn't have a copay or a deductible, and you wouldn't have a network. So you could pick whatever fucking doctor you want to go see. And nobody would be telling you, Amber, who you can and cannot see. But you like that cuckery. You like paying 4 times more for an insurance company to tell you who you can and cannot see and what is and is not covered. And oh, by the way, the cool thing is when you're watching TV on Sunday, watching a football game, you get to see a cool commercial that they paid hundreds of millions of dollars for to try and get other people to join your plan to offset the cost. It's like Amber's the type of person that if a Republican came up and was like, I'm going to give you $10 if you vote for me, and my policies are exactly the same as the Democrat. And the Democrat came up and said, my policies are exactly the same as the Republican, and I will give you $10 million. Amber would be like, 10, I don't support commies. This allegiance to stupidity is remarkable.
To do is reduce the cost and expand the coverage to everyone. And that's what I did as secretary. They can ignore those points. They can lie about them. But the fact is, by the time I left the secretary position at HHS, we had expanded coverage to more Americans than ever in the history. And we had dropped the cost of care for millions.
It's nice about what you do if you eliminate insurance companies. But in real life, insurance companies exist because of dumb people like you, Amber. If we all voted for Medicare for all, those insurance companies would no longer exist. They would go bye-bye, but Amber won't vote for that. That's crazy. It's like, this is crazy. Yes, we want to change the law, Amber, so that this doesn't exist anymore. That's how laws work. But in reality, we can't change anything. The conservative mind, my friends, the conservative mind on full display this morning. You guys are conservatives. Are you with her on this? They're already our testing ground anyway. That doesn't make any fucking sense, Amber. That doesn't make any sense. For the record, though, for those that were shitting on Obamacare, which, again, is not the solution that I would prefer, I just want to show this. This was under Joe Biden. This is the net monthly premium per enrollee. This is the average that people paid for healthcare during the Biden administration. You can see that it went down. You can see that it went down. And the first year that Trump came in and cut those subsidies, the net premium went up. He made Americans pay more for the same shitty coverage. But he's for you, right? Cool. All right. That's actually a good segue. What do we got? An hour? Goddamn, we are way behind. Just a reminder, guys, we are totally crowdfunded, and Jen's about to probably lose her shit on me because I keep forgetting to remind you of that. We have a daily gift goal, and if you could help us knock that out, that would be greatly appreciated. Some of you are here every day, and if you can find it in your heart to help crowdfund us, that would be great. This is how we pay our bills. That's the number we need to hit every single day in order to keep this shit going. So if you could help us knock out the gift goal, that'd be greatly appreciated. There's like 900 people here. So between all of you, we did a dollar train. We would more than knock that out. And I'll read basically anything that you guys read. But let's talk about Amber, because Amber may just be Congressman Tom Emmer's burner account, because this sounds an awful lot like Amber. It's close.
All of these polls that try to suggest that Donald Trump's influence is waning are completely false. Donald Trump has never been stronger, especially with the Republican base. And you saw it last night.
All polls are fake. Everybody who says Donald Trump is not king, his poll numbers have never been worse. They're all fake.
Indiana, he's become more than Donald Trump. He is an icon of the ages, and when he speaks, people listen. And I know the left doesn't like to hear that, Stuart, but it's fact, and you saw it last night.
And what they're saying why Donald Trump is better than ever is because the people that Trump backed won the primaries in the Republican Party. Yeah, his approval rating is still pretty good in the Republican Party, but it's at all-time lows.
On display in Indiana.
Yes, the MAGA held together and supported the president on this. I think his political fortunes may be on the upswing. Just a little, we shall see.
For sure. That's Tom Emmer's burner account is Amber in here. I wanted to show you some of this debate between Michael Knowles and Mehdi Hasan. Mehdi Hasan eviscerated. If you have time to watch this whole thing, I highly recommend it. It's never been more. It could not be more clear that Michael Knowles is just there to make a check. His job is to fluff Donald Trump and not answer tough questions and not have any real strong opinions. Just do what Amber loves and say left bad. But he had a tough night debating Mehdi Hasan, which, look, anybody debating Mehdi Hasan is going to have a tough night.
That a lot of Michael's argument will be, well, other presidents did this, a lot of whataboutism, a lot of see what X did, see what Y did, see what Obama did, see what Biden did. And I think we just have to be very clear here. We're talking about Donald Trump tonight. Donald Trump is sui generis. There's never been a president like him before, certainly not in our lifetimes.
Nostri says, thanks for putting up these people. Thank you. Sunlit Angel said, for Amber's last two brain cells fighting.
He's undeniably violating both constitutional norms, i.e. precedents, but also the Constitution. The amendments, the articles of the Constitution in this country. He's doing it all the time. At this point, at this stage, anyone who tells you Donald Trump is not violating the Constitution is gaslighting you and or a member of his cult.
That's Amber. That's the person earlier that said, give us examples of Trump violating the Constitution, and then we did, and then the radical Supreme Court.
Right, the facts are very clear. We can go through them in order. I mean, right now, if you look at the Constitution, Donald Trump is violating the Appropriations Clause, the Emoluments Clause, the Elections Clause, the Taxing and Spending Clause, the Take Care Clause, the Declare War Clause. He's also violating the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the 10th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, maybe soon the 22nd Amendment, as he suggested yesterday. And, yes, other presidents...
Sorry, Amber said, get rid of the health insurance companies first, and then we can talk about the healthcare thing. That's how you get rid of the health insurance companies. You replace them with Medicare for all, Amber. That's crazy. So you just want everybody to not have insurance for a while, and then we can figure out how to fix it? Get rid of all insurance for a while. Good. Sorry. Thank you, Jen, for joining the Dollar Trade, and Liz Rose. And then, what was this one? From Jessica said, Amber sounds much more intelligent when she's sucking my ass through a straw.
That's your question, have violated norms. Other presidents have certainly violated clauses of the Constitution, but no president, certainly not in modern American history, has launched a multi-pronged, across-the-board, open assault on, forget norms, on the amendments and articles of our Constitution in the space of less than 18 months, right? Yes, previous presidents have violated perhaps a single constitutional amendment, sure. And been...
I'm sorry, Diane, are you saying that Mehdi Hasan is a foreigner? He was born here. American citizen. Oh, is that just a little racism coming out? Nobody listens to brown people, but we can't call you racist, right?
Called out for it. But none of them None of them said they plan to terminate the Constitution, as Donald Trump once did. None of them said, I don't know.
I take that back. He's from the UK. He was born in the UK. But he is a US citizen. I take that back.
When they were asked, as Trump was on Meet the Press last year, is it the job of the president to uphold the Constitution? I don't know, he said. None of them declared themselves to be a king or a dictator, even for a day. None of them were rebuked by their own vice president for trying to violate the Constitution and the rule of law. What did Mike Pence say? I know Michael's a big fan of Mike Pence. So I came specially with a Mike Pence quote. Mike Pence said, President Trump demanded, I choose between him and our Constitution. If you are pressuring your own vice president to put you above your Constitution, you're not just violating norms, you're violating the Constitution, you're violating...
Why do you guys suppose that Mike Pence said that Donald Trump made him choose between the Constitution and his loyalty to Trump? If that wasn't really what he meant, like obviously politically it killed him. He can never, like, he's not going to be prominent in the GOP ever again. He didn't switch parties. He held all his same views. He just lied for fun. Or maybe Trump asked him to do something outside the Constitution. William said Trump has ruined using superlatives in speeches for me. Thank you, Alyssa, for joining the Dollar Train. Appreciate that. My lady Hernandez says, so Jen doesn't hurt you. It's going to hurt me anyways, but I appreciate that.
...your oath of office. And it is very clear tonight that Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to the Constitution. Forget norms. Let's raise the bar. To the Constitution, to the articles and amendments of the Constitution, to our rights and liberties, to our democracy. And you don't have to take my word for that tonight. Just take Mike Pence's.
Okay, Mike. The Mike Pence standard of constitutional jurisprudence. Okay, wonderful to be here. Thank you all.
No response. By the way, he just did an opening statement after that. He didn't respond to any of it. Neely, the Vampire Slayer, said, paying more just so others get less, the new GOP slogan. Yeah, they don't say it out loud, but we're getting to the point with the GOP that they can say it out loud. It's such a fucking Trump cult that they all feel comfortable just letting out their stupidity. So we might get to that point. Leaky said, because I thoroughly dislike Amber. Damn, Amber. You got some fans. Sherry said, paying extra for the Dollar Chain for Amber because I believe in helping those less fortunate. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get to the next part of this debate. Here is calling out Michael Knowles now on double standards on Iran. This is a tough one. Republicans, will you listen to this one for a second? Will you just not be like racist and bigoted for a second and just listen to this so we can get like a good response? Amber, will you listen to this real fast so we can get your response?
An admission he perhaps shouldn't have made there. Do you notice what he said about Maduro? He said, a lawless president. His words. Am I being dishonest? Is that what you said? A lawless president.
Not with reference to Trump.
But you said a lawless president would have just killed him. That's funny, because what did we do in Iran on day one of that war? We killed.
Earlier in the debate, what Michael Knowles said is when they talked about kidnapping the president of another country, he's like, well, if Trump really was lawless, he would just kill him. Well, he did in another country. So what's the difference?
We killed the leader of Iran. So by Michael's definition, Donald Trump is a lawless president. He went to war in Iran without congressional approval, without a UN Security Council resolution, as we've already discussed. He went to war in Venezuela without a congressional approval or a UN Security Council resolution. The idea that he did it because the guy's a drug trafficker is hilarious. I'm no defender of Maduro. Let's see what the court says. But he pardoned another Latin American head of government who was in American prison for cocaine trafficking into the US. He pardoned him.
You agree, Amber, that Trump is lawless? All right. I appreciate that. Thank you. While we're at it, why is Maduro why do we need to go kidnap Maduro and bring him here because he was trafficking drugs into America? But then there's, I think it was the Honduran president who was trafficking drugs into America and was caught and prosecuted. Why did he get a pardon? I think, Amber, you're right, because Trump is lawless and he just takes bribes. He doesn't care about you, and you don't care really about anything either. It's just you're just here on Team Trump. Brad said, did Noah include termites on the ark? That's a good question. Lorraine, thanks for jumping on the Dollar Train. Lisa said, I think Amber is so dumb that she could sell her car for gas money. That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good.
So real consistency there when it comes to drug trafficking. As for Nigeria, number one, it's not a genocide of Christians. The First Lady of Nigeria is a Christian. The Defense Minister is a Christian.
Okay, what's the nuance in debate here? Why did Trump pardon a drug trafficker? What's the nuance we're missing?
Terrorist groups like ISIS in Nigeria and Boko Haram kill Muslims and Christians alike. It's a horrific violence, but it's not a Christian genocide. No one actually believes that. And even if it was, that's not the debate. The debate is, did he have the legal right to bomb Nigeria, or did he have to go to Congress, which he did not. He never goes to Congress. And let's take a step back here. Let's get out of the weeds here. What is the common thread tonight? It's not about just migrants or free speech or students or wars. It is about a president who doesn't just test the limit of the law, he puts himself above the law. Donald Trump doesn't recognize congressional restrictions. He doesn't recognize Supreme Court restrictions. Michael doesn't want to talk about a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling saying you got to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And Trump says to an ABC reporter,
but why did the Supreme Court rule 9-0 that they had to bring back Kilmar Abrego Garcia? Because he has due process rights, even though he is here and his status is illegal. And yet, if you ask Republicans, if you're here and you're undocumented, do you have due process rights? They will tell you no. And that's the reality that we now live in this country, where the Supreme Court, who interprets the laws, determined that Kilmar Abrego Garcia had due process rights and they were violated, and that if you are here and you are undocumented, you have due process rights. And still, the Constitution Party, the Law and Order Party, the party that loves citing the Constitution, will always tell you, when you ask them, do undocumented immigrants have due process rights? They will always say no. Watch, Amber, if you're an undocumented immigrant, do you have due process rights in this country? Do you have the same rights to due process if you're undocumented that you and I have? Watch.
I could, but I'm not going to. No president has done that before. You want to play whataboutism? And it is whataboutism. Tell me which president said after a 9-0 ruling, yeah, I'm not going to do it. There hasn't been one. It's only Donald Trump who does this when it comes to war, when it comes to migration, when it comes to Supreme Court. That is why we're saying he does not uphold the Constitution, because the evidence is clear. And if Trump were here tonight, he'd probably say, yeah, you're right.
Amber, answer the question, please. Thanks. Do they have due process right? No. Don't keep copy and pasting shit. Do they have due process rights? Republican voters here. If you are an undocumented immigrant, do you have the same due process that I do? All right, and then last one here, and we'll move on. This is why we call it a cult. And Amber's done a great job actually setting this up. Amber, as somebody who grew up in a cult, Amber, you would have made one hell of a fucking Mormon. Just defend blindly. It doesn't have to make sense at all. Just confidently defend it and never be willing to change your mind about anything. You would do great in a cult. Another cult. You're in one. They were not vetted in the way, and so no, they came here illegally. They do not get due process on the way out. Goodbye. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Amber just disagreed with the Supreme Court and the Constitution. And this is why we can't come to agreement with you guys. Don't ask us to come together with you. You don't care about the fucking Constitution. You love the idea that your opinion trumps the law. The law says they do have due process. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that Kilmar Abrego Garcia had to be returned to the United States because he had due process. And Amber thinks that her feelings are more important. And until we get you cultists into a fringe minority, America's going to be fucked for a while. The dumbest people in this country are the loudest. The most unprincipled people in this country are the loudest. And that sucks. And that happened because the only way at this point you're still a supporter of Donald Trump is that you're either in on the take and you make money off of it, or you're a dumb motherfucker. And Amber, I don't know if you're getting paid. If you're getting paid, you're in on it. If not, you're the latter.
He lied about the Pope on Monday and said he wants Iran to have nuclear weapons. Do you agree that's a lie? The Pope doesn't want Iran to have nuclear weapons.
I don't think that the Pope wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
So Trump lied.
I think that President Trump and the Pope are having a disagreement within the basis of...
Why can't they answer questions? And this is where we're going to prove that it's a cult. The reason Michael Knowles won't answer this question is because Michael Knowles gets paid to lick Donald Trump's asshole. And he does that because the people who pay Michael Knowles, the people who watch Michael Knowles, don't want real information. They want Donald Trump porn. They would like to turn on Michael Knowles and see him glazing Donald Trump. And if he does anything other than glaze Donald Trump, they will change the channel. So when he's here right now, even though his own belief is, and because there's no evidence that excuse me, I got distracted by my phone. It was ringing. Sorry about that. What was the claim here? Now I got distracted. Oh, that the Pope wanted Iran to get a nuclear weapon. He knows that, but he can't call Trump a liar because that's how he pays his bills.
Having a disagreement from within the basis of.
Won't do it. This is what the definition of a cult is, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't think he's lying.
Ask me to criticize Barack Obama's lies. I will happily.
I've just pointed out, but he's not lying because I think he believes it.
Okay.
And this has been, he's going to say it, but this is like the defense of Donald Trump. When he's wrong, when he's obviously wrong, they fall back to, well, he really believes it. Who fucking cares? So he's an idiot?
I think he does believe it.
Oh, was your girl calling? No, it wasn't. It was, I think I told you guys this. Somebody's coming to grab something from my house, and there's a gate at my property, and they have to like dial, and it calls my phone, and I have to hit pound. So I thought it was maybe that number.
The great Trump defense for 10 years. Since we're doing predictions, I already admitted my predictions are bad, but relevant to this conversation, you had a great prediction. In the summer of 2024, you tweeted, there's no reason to believe, there's no evidence to suggest that Donald Trump won't accept the results of this election. The same can't be said about his opponents. That take aged like milk in a hot desert.
Thanks,
as
Shannon.
we saw on January 6th. The idea that, oh, he left. Yeah, he left after exhausting every violent and non-violent option. There were guardrails. You think J.D. Vance is going to stand up to Donald Trump in 2028? You think the man who threw his own wife under the bus is going to stand up to Donald Trump in 2028? No, there are no guardrails this time. There's no Jim Mattis. There's no John Kelly. There's none of the people from the first time who were semi-adults in the room. There's Kash Patel, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and J.D. Vance. If that fills you with confidence, on January the 6th, 2029, go for it. Some of us will still be skeptical about a man who completely, utterly is obsessed with power, says, I have a Second Amendment, I have an Article 2 right to do whatever I want, reposts quotes from Napoleon saying, if you save your country, you violated no laws. Yeah, you have. You're not above the law. Who says stuff like, you know what he said to New York Times earlier this year when he was asked about international law? He said, my mind, my morality.
I don't have a preference yet, Moose Duty, on who I think should be president in 2020. I think whoever the nominees are, I'm going to be disappointed. So I'm just preparing myself to not have it be somebody that I really like.
That's the only thing that can stop me. Who talks like that?
You live with a king. I don't think the border should be wide open, and the border isn't wide open, and it wasn't wide open under Joe Biden. I live in a border state. This is, again, the problem with Republicans is you just don't live in reality. Literally nobody advocates for an open border. That's just a thing that Republicans tell you about us so that you won't listen to anything else, so that you'll just continue to glurp their balls every time they talk. They have you in such a hysterical, consistent state of fear that you don't know what any of us believe. You don't know what any of us want. It's just lie after lie after lie. I live in a border state. I go to the border regularly. It has never been opened. It's also not closed. It wasn't wide open. You could come through, you could go in and out of the border the entire time. Most of the people that came here during the Biden administration literally walked through the border, and they went through the legal process of seeking asylum. They can't tell you that. It's too many words. They have to give you like little phrases that you can understand because you're too goddamn dumb to understand nuance.
Autocrats talk like that. Dictators talk like that. If Barack Obama had talked like that, these guys would have gone nuts. But, you know, he saluted...
Michelina, you already said you weren't staying here. You can bounce.
...a military guy while holding a coffee, and that was a huge scandal.
He also
under
compared
Barack
himself
Obama,
to God,
right?
if you recall.
And Donald Trump has compared himself to God. In fact, he's reposted people, and he posted an image of himself as God. Classic Michael. Oh, he took it down. But why did he put it up? You'll never criticize him for the original act. You'll praise him for taking it down. And Pope is a good example. He cannot handle any criticism. If it's a Supreme Court justice, they're a lapdog and a fool. If it's the Pope, he wants Iran to have nuclear weapons. He recognizes no opposition. That is why he's so sui generis. That is why George Bush recognized opponents. I have to take a second shower tonight. George Bush recognized political opponents. Donald Trump doesn't recognize any power other than his own.
Amber, I've never said you push an agenda. I think you're just stupid. Yeah, the border was never wide open. That's silly. If it was wide open, why were people waiting in line? How come people were waiting in line sometimes for days if it was wide open? Why didn't they just walk across? If it was wide open, nobody was stopping them. What were they doing waiting in line? Why wasn't the line moving? All right. Here's another example of the
Meanwhile,
Trump
I want to turn to
administration,
another.
Doing the exact wrong thing. And you're going to watch the Republicans here be happy with this. Trump is costing us billions of dollars. We've now wasted billions of dollars because Donald Trump hates wind farms. This video is going to be a lot louder than the next one, by the way. If you turn the volume way up on that last one because it was low, this is going to blow out your ears, so be careful for that. But here's another example of Donald Trump doing the bidding of big oil at your expense, at our expense, at the expense of the country. By canceling wind projects, we have more expensive energy. And in a lot of cases, the money has already been spent here and we're not going to get it back.
Meanwhile, I want to turn to another piece of critical reporting you've been doing, tracking the money around the Trump administration. New reporting that energy companies are set to get nearly $1 billion to not build offshore wind farms. I know the president has been critical of these projects in the past, but why that payout?
Several large-scale wind energy projects on the east and west coast of the U.S. have been canceled in the last few months. In March, the administration announced a nearly $1 billion payout to Total Energy, which is a French...
To do nothing. Here's $1 billion to not do any work. I thought you guys were against handouts. Here's $1 billion to not do any work. Oh, and by the way, this will make your electric bills more expensive. Cool.
Company to abandon an offshore wind project. They had bought 2 leases in 2022, one off the coast of North Carolina. That was for more than $133 million. And then another off the coast of New York for $795 million. And then last week, more than $900 million in additional payouts were made for 2 more projects, Blue Point Wind off of the coast of New York and New Jersey, and Golden State Wind off of the coast of California. So between the last few months, there have been nearly $2 billion in these payments. The administration had initially tried to block some of these wind projects from going forward, citing national security concerns. That was batted down in several different...
Can't have wind farms. It's going to endanger our national security. It's crazy.
Courts. And the Interior Secretary Doug Burgum told the Associated Press that these projects were only viable when they were propped up by taxpayer subsidies under the Biden administration. We reached out to the Department of Interior to ask about this. We did not hear back from them in time.
Nearly $2 billion in payments, though. Does the administration have the spending authority to do that?
There are serious...
What do we think about that? Paying people billions of dollars to do nothing. How do we feel about that? Draco's Rose said the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and unfortunately it's the dumbass, pedo, protectoritis, drumpf-loving maggot sheep that are the loudest right now.
Questions about the legality of this. I spoke with Liz Klein earlier today. She was the...
Wind farms are so great, you would think that China would have like half of all the wind farms in the world. I think they do. Don't they actually have like half the wind farms?
Former director under President Biden of the Bureau.
Like California trains. No, not at all like California trains. These are wind turbines. There's nothing, this is not a form of transportation. I just say things. I don't know what any of this means. I just know that I'm supposed to hate the trains in California. I know that I'm not supposed to like renewable energy, and the trains in California are a waste of money. That's what you went with.
Of Ocean Energy Management, and she does not think that it is legal for the administration.
Why don't I mention what the motive is behind these purchases? What purchases? These aren't purchases. These are leases.
To be taking this,
and the Trump administration is paying them to do nothing.
These kinds of steps. Here's a little bit of what she had to say.
Many of us believe they have.
Michelina, let me help you with this. Have you ever been to a wind farm? Yes, all the time. I drive past the one in Palm Springs all the time. They are graveyards full of dead birds. No, they're not. And they cost more to operate and repair than they benefit. That's not true. The average lifespan of a wind turbine is 25 years, and they become profitable depending on which wind turbine you're talking about, between 8 and 12 years. So for between, 17 and 8 plus 5, 13 years, they are profitable. They are always profitable. And the energy they produce is the lowest kilowatt per hour energy. What you're doing right now is repeating some dumb shit that a dumb, bloated motherfucker who was spoon-fed by his mom and failed his way upwards and became president told you. And the reason that that dumb motherfucker told you that is because a bunch of oil lobbyists give him money and they say, read this shit. And he goes, okay, I'll read anything. I don't understand it. And he went on stage and he read some dumb shit. And then you showed up and you said that. We've done the research on this. It is the cheapest form of energy. The return on investment is great for us. You know who it's not good for? Private investors. You know who it's not good for? Private equity. Why? Because they don't make a bunch of money off of it. What do they make a bunch of money off of? Oil. So they invest in oil. And then those people that are investing in oil pay off all your politicians so that your energy is more expensive. But yeah, blue team bad. So I have to hate wind.
Gone outside of what is lawful, certainly outside of any appropriate
Bold of you to think Trump can read fair.
Process. They have crafted these agreements, which really, the best way to describe them are backdoor deals that lack transparency. They lack an appropriate process that you would normally follow.
Klein says that the agency that she used to oversee does not have the statutory.
Thanks, Jimmy. I'll look at the browser extension. Appreciate it.
Or regulatory authority to refund the monies to these companies after they paid for the lease. And Amna, this is raising questions from members of Congress and also Republicans in New York State who are questioning the administration's moves here.
Liz Landers, great reporting as always. Thank you so much.
Of course.
You weaken the persuasiveness with the snark and vulgarity. Respectfully, suck my ass. This is not a place for everybody. We say potty words here. Sorry about that. So great news coming from the Trump administration, paying to do nothing. I wanted to show you this. This was from last week, April 15th, actually, on tax day, but we missed this somehow. This is Senator Peter Welch from Vermont, which I still don't think exists, talking to the IRS CEO, Frank Bisignano, about the tax gap. We've mentioned this before, but there's about $1 trillion every year that we don't collect in taxes. Respectfully, since we did disrespectfully earlier, we should collect those taxes that are owed. I don't know. That's about as American as it could possibly be. But rich people are able to avoid taxes, and we are cutting the IRS. And so we're not bringing in the taxes that are owed to us. And that's a big fucking problem, especially when we're running budget deficits. We don't think $1 trillion a year could probably help us not operate at deficits. Might help us pay for more things. Maybe we should collect the taxes that are owed.
Senator Welch.
Thank you very much. Welcome. I have. What was the deficit number when President Trump took office in January 20th of 2025?
I don't know.
Well, do you know what it is today?
I'm not tracking it.
Big number. And I want to just follow up on some of the questions my colleague from Colorado asked. On enforcement, we have a chart here that there has been significant cuts in the staff for enforcement. And this chart here shows that 25% loss of staff has led to longer wait times. And I understand you dispute that, but that is our experience in Vermont. And also, as the Senator from Colorado mentioned, $598 billion in lost revenue from the DOGE layoffs.
They should be here.
Do you want to contest that?
First thing I'd say is, as I said,
What was the number they said there? $598 billion in lost revenue from DOGE layoffs. Whoops. Waste, fraud, and abuse. We'll just lose just under $600 billion. That's, when we say lost revenue, that's taxpayer money. Is that a good way? Is that a good way to run the government, to make sure that we don't collect taxes? $600 billion worth?
What's that?
First thing I'd say is, as I said,
Sorry
the inspector
for talking on the mic.
general would say phone servicing performed 40% better. Secondly, it just said, we have 12% more enforcement revenue year to date than we had before.
So let me interrupt for just a second. I mean, you believe
Somebody, good question. Who said that? Who said the CEO of the IRS? Why is it the CEO of the IRS? It's not yeah. You know why? So he works under Scott Bessent, and Scott Bessent created a new role called the Chief Executive Officer of the IRS to manage day-to-day operations so that they could avoid Senate confirmation. They found a loophole to get this guy in charge of day-to-day operations by creating a new role called Chief Executive Officer. Cool, huh? Isn't this administration cool? They didn't want oversight. MAGA's like, yeah, that's right. You show that government. Fuck Congress. Yeah, they represent you. So, yeah, you didn't get oversight. No confirmation hearing. Good question, though. First ever CEO of the IRS.
Is absolutely essential.
Then fill the loophole. Well, I think Democrats are going to try that if they can win back the House and Senate. But who's not filling the loophole? Republicans. Right? You guys don't care about that. You like it. Republicans in the Senate and the House are the cuckiest bunch of cucks I've ever seen in my life. Their favorite thing in the world is to do whatever Donald Trump says and give all of their power to him. We don't want to do anything. We just want to listen to the president.
That the IRS enforce collection, particularly from
100%.
All right. And one of your predecessors in the Trump administration, Mr. Reddick, you know him, he says that while he described the agency as outgunned by wealthy, well-advised taxpayers, and Mr. Reddick estimated that the tax gap, which is the difference between taxes owed and taxes paid.
This shit needs to be defunded. I'm not sure what needs to be defunded. Not the IRS. The IRS needs to be funded. They are underfunded, which is why they're not collecting enough taxes. The IRS desperately needs more funding. Our return on that investment, I think, is $6 to 1. For every IRS agent, for every dollar we spend on an IRS agent, we bring in $6. It's one of the most sensible investments we could make.
Was approaching $1 trillion a year. That's from a Trump appointee who shares your concern about collection. What is your number?
My number is that the last reported tax gap was.
The IRS shouldn't be taking money from hardworking people. Yes, they should. That's called taxes. You pay taxes. That's how this works. That's exactly what the IRS should be doing, is taking money from hardworking people and not hardworking people. Anybody who's earning an income, that's what the IRS does.
650, right? And I think we're undergoing a review of what's the actual.
People earning $40K largely don't pay taxes when all is said and done. They're not. They get tax refunds generally. So, but yeah, I agree. We should tax rich people more and poor people less. I agree. It's called a progressive tax policy. You sound like a progressive already. Put on your Bernie Sanders shirt.
Addressable tax gap and how to close that gap.
Well, let me ask, the review has to be done. I mean, there's a well-known tax gap, and that is something that your predecessor in the Trump administration acknowledged. $1 trillion a year. That has got to freak you out. Well, I mean, what are you doing about it?
Well, like I said, the last reported one was 650. He was projecting out. There's no document that was produced at $1 trillion, but 650 is big enough so we don't have to debate the trillion. And what I'm saying is
But here is what's happening. I mean, the number of staff that are assigned has diminished. There were the DOGE cuts that did a lot of damage to the organizational structure and the morale. You didn't do this. This is something you inherited, but it's something you have to address. And then Mr. Reddick says we've got $1 trillion in the tax gap. That is just totally unacceptable.
Okay, but why don't we deal with the published number of 650?
Pay their bills.
Right. Secondly, what we've done is bring in a ton of technology. We have
we need you to bring in a ton of money.
How are you going to get this money?
We got technology. We're answering phones a little bit quicker now, and we fired a bunch of agents. Is that going to work?
Why do you think Scott Bessent and the billionaires running this cabinet hired this guy? Was it because he's qualified? No, it's because he's a dumbass and he takes orders. And they don't want to pay taxes, and they don't want their friends to pay taxes. So this guy's in charge of the IRS to make sure that we don't collect taxes.
Money from people who owe it, not a ton of technology.
Well, that's 500,000 we collected the other day, 250 million from. The top 5 cases were $2 billion.
But you're 600. There's a $600 billion number there. Some people say $1 trillion that you're not collecting. So we're asking about that part, not what you do collect. Damian said, not sure if I'm to write this here, but I appreciate you going through current news in depth every day. Especially appreciate you being honest about your bias and your communication with the chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jamar said, I could listen to Mehdi Hassan all day. He's so good at what he does. Yeah, he's intimidatingly good.
I'm all in favor of that. You've got some successes there you've talked to. But if there is a gap, and again, this is not my number. This is from the Wall Street Journal quoting Mr. Red.
Can I answer the question? Is $100,000 a year considered rich? It would depend on where you lived. There are places in this country where if you're making $100,000 a year, I wouldn't consider that rich. I don't know of anybody's progressive tax plan that starts at $100,000. I think even Bernie's, starts at $500,000. But yeah, depending on where you live, in some places you're kind of skating by at $100,000. In some places that's better than average. I don't know what the average median income. I think it's like $68,000 or something. But yeah, I would not classify that as rich.
Your predecessor.
Yeah, well, that's a paper talking about somebody with a number that's never been produced. So I want to really use that for my baseline.
Well, we've got the Yale Budget Lab that studies this with a PhD in economist, and we've got a former IRS tax commissioner on Trump who puts that number at about $1 trillion. So the real question here is when you return to this committee with Senator Crapo and Senator Wyden, we want that number to be as close to zero as possible.
Well, what you'll have is a plan to drive the number down, and you'll have the resources allocated and technology.
We don't want a ton of technology. We don't want a plan. We want people who owe taxes to the United States Treasury to pay taxes to the United States Treasury. And that is especially...
And how long have you been working and telling people to work on the tax cap?
How long have I...
We need you guys to collect more taxes. How long have you been saying this? Oh, it's his fault. Now you just flipped. Now it's his fault that this dude's not doing his job. Got it.
Ben, don't I get to ask questions here?
I'm just wondering because you're making it sound like it was worked on diligently ever.
No.
It's about to be.
No, nobody said that.
Look, for the first time.
Here is the reality, okay? The new Trump administration came in and eviscerated the staffing at the IRS. It also changed its policy on audits of very wealthy individuals. And it's incredibly complicated, those audits. The things that very wealthy people can do to avoid stating what their income is and inflate their expenses. That has happened. Mr. Reddick has acknowledged that it was so great that it got up to $1 trillion. That is a problem that is the responsibility and burden you have to address and get that number down.
Robert, we're just going to help you out here. Robert says if you make $100,000, you're playing full boat. These are the current tax brackets in this country. If you're making $100,000, you're paying 22%. The top tax bracket is over $640,000. There's obviously 4 tax brackets higher than $100,000. As per usual, Robert is full of emotions and full of incorrect information. At $100,000 in this system, it's 22%. So swing and a miss, Robert. But good luck. That's full boat. It's last I checked, 22% and 37% were not the same. Good try, bud. Robert, you gotta just look shit up, man. Like, you can't keep coming here every day and looking this dumb. All right, I covered this the other day. I covered all of these charts, but I thought Steve Ratner did a good job stringing it together. So we're going to spend the rest of this time as we now see that our government's not collecting the proper taxes. Trump's wasting money everywhere. We're in a war that nobody fucking understands. And in the meantime, Donald Trump is making an absolute fucking fortune. And just prepare yourselves for a bunch of Republicans saying everybody does this, when literally none of what we're about to cover has ever been done by anybody. But I do think it's important as we finish this up, about 30 minutes left today, to remind you that Donald Trump is not a corrupt politician. He's a flat-out con man, and he has convinced the dumbest people in our country to believe he's doing something for them, and he's just stealing. He's using the presidency as a way to funnel money into his family's pockets while he fucks you all over, and you're here mad at me, but here we go. But let's see, and I'll update the gift goal. Just a reminder, guys, we're crowdfunded, so if you want to help us knock out that gift goal in the next 30 minutes, that would be greatly appreciated. Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal are preferred, but you can also do Super Chats. And if you want to join us tonight for our members-only event, which is at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we're going to watch 2 more episodes of the company retreat, make sure you're a paid member on YouTube or Twitch, and then message Jen on Discord. That's JENNDUBB1, and she'll make sure you're in the Discord so you can watch that with us.
So what made you decide to go and attend this meme coin conference today?
It's a big industry, and we want to beat China at the industry. We're leading with crypto. We're leading with AI. And I really feel I have an obligation from this. As a president, I have to be able to make sure that all of our industries do well. Crypto is a big industry. It's actually become somewhat mainstream. The banks have it. People have it. And I think as the leader of the...
that tells you that it's good that the banks got involved. Yeah, it must be legit then if the banks are investing in it. It definitely wouldn't be the banks figuring out that they could manipulate it.
country, we want to lead in AI. And we're leading China by a lot in AI, and we're also leading in crypto.
President Trump, right before he hosted nearly 300 of the top buyers.
Jaka, when you ever give me a single example of something that I'm lying about or am wrong about, we can have a discussion. But like your generic insults every day are getting old. I've tried to do this with you. I've tried to be nice to you. I've asked you to come up here and talk. I've asked you for specifics. Does it get old every single day getting banned for just doing generic insults? Just tell me what I got wrong. Well, I'll correct it. Correct piece of information. I just showed data on Robert, and he was wrong. Just tell me what we got wrong.
Of his Trump meme coin at Mar-a-Lago on Saturday.
Show me proof. Show me proof. Don't just say it, RTP. Show me that Trump is stealing money. That's what this video is. You're going to watch it. I've actually shown you the charts from this video already, and you didn't believe that, but we're going to watch it here.
Event billed as the, quote, most exclusive crypto.
Hold on. I didn't say that he's just stealing money. I also said that he's using the presidency to get paid, which is a violation of the emoluments clause, and that he doesn't give a fuck about you. But yeah, he is also stealing money.
And business conference in the world, but it comes at a time when the meme coin is facing significant headwinds, to put it mildly. Let's bring in former Treasury official.
Yes, some Democrats have also stolen money, and I cover those stories too.
Economic analyst Steve Ratner with charts on the relationship between cryptocurrency and the Trump administration, and more specifically, the Trump family. Steve, good morning. Great to see you. So let's start with the big picture about Donald Trump, his personal wealth since he came back to office, how he's doing.
Exactly, Willie. I was going to suggest we start with the big picture, because if you look at Trump's net worth in the fullness of time, and Forbes, as you know,
well, Robert, if you weren't saying that you pay top marginal tax rates at $100,000, then don't say full boat, because that's what full boat means. If you say I'm paying full boat, that means you're paying the highest. So
a really great job of dissecting the wealth of many wealthy people. Going all the way back to 2001, the family, and Trump particularly, was worth under $2 billion, and he gradually grew his net worth. Then you had the financial crisis. He took a hit like almost everybody else. He grew it back up. But in Trump 1.0, his net worth actually went down pretty substantially. A bit of that was COVID, but a lot was the fact that he put guardrails around the kinds of things they would do. They wouldn't do international deals and so on and so forth. And he actually was acting like a normal president. Then he had his 4 years in the wilderness, and not much happened. Now, 2 years into Trump...
No, the Jaka, I'm showing you the proof. I'm asking you to ever show proof of anything you say.
Look what happens. His net worth goes from $2.3 billion to $6.5 billion.
Okay, so here's a little bit of proof here. This is Trump's net worth. He's never seen this type of explosive growth. It was pretty much flat, right? It would go up and down, up and down. Why this explosive growth? When you say, what is Trump doing? How is he using the presidency to enrich himself, which is a violation of the emoluments clause? We're going to now look at this explosive growth, and we're going to break down where this money is coming from.
All of this is crypto in one form or another. He has become the crypto king, even though during Trump 1.0, he was against crypto. He thought crypto was kind of a scam, which it kind of is, as we know. So where did the money come from? He had $4 billion, he and his family, of profits. $3 billion of it came from crypto. And I will tell you, there are so many transactions here, so many structures. It made my head hurt even trying to understand it. But
when did he start this crypto venture? When did he start this? What would make this a violation of the emoluments clause? Jaka, can you explain what the emoluments clause is while you criticize? Just tell me what it means. What is it?
just to give you an example, he took Trump Media, which is the company he started to create Truth Social, and it raised a bunch of money from investors, and he went out and bought a whole bunch of crypto with that. He sold meme coins. I'm going to talk more about this.
A couple days before the election on his meme coins, that's correct. World Liberty Financial, I think, was started in 2024 as he led up to the presidency, but he was running for president. The emoluments clause, for anybody who doesn't know, restricts the president from receiving benefits beyond their salary from the United States or any state. The foreign emoluments clause bars officials from accepting gifts or payments from foreign states without Congress approving it. So he is in violation of both the domestic emoluments clause and the foreign emoluments clause with this. He should be impeached. He should be removed. No other president has done this ever. And if you have an example of any other president violating the emoluments clause, please drop them in the chat. I don't want to hear shit from anybody today of like, everybody does this. No, name one other president who violated the emoluments clause.
In a minute, but remember the dollar Trump, dollar Melania coins, all that contributed profit. So crypto all the way. Made some money from finance. This is Jared raising all of his money from the Middle East and the profits that are anticipated from it. And then there were also some benefits he got. For example, he raised the admission fee at Mar-a-Lago from $100,000 to $1 million. The money he took from the law firms and the other companies as part of his lawsuit campaign, the Qatari jet. But crypto is really what dominates the $3 billion that he added to his net worth.
So let's talk about that meme coin, because so much of this money is coming from crypto. You're calling it here a ripoff. Can you explain exactly what the meme coin is and why you say it's a ripoff?
So he starts a foundation like Clinton and do it under the table. The Clinton Foundation was not formed while Bill Clinton was president. He wasn't taking foreign money, and he wasn't taking domestic money while he was president. See, this is the thing. None of you ever understand any of this. The emoluments clause does not apply once you are out of office. It's when you are in office. Jesus Christ.
Well, explaining exactly would probably take me most of the remaining 4 hours that you have this morning. But
there we go. Let the video play. Here's what we do on this chat. I interrupt videos like crazy because this is my live stream and it's my commentary on the video. In fact, if I don't interrupt the videos, YouTube will fine me and they will shut down my channel because I'm required, if I'm using somebody else's content, I think it's like 70% of the conversation has to come from me and not from them. And if I violate that, I will lose my YouTube channel. So because of you being a crybaby bitch, the rest of us are going to suffer. And they're going to be very upset about this. But we're now going to have 10 seconds of silence because of you being a crybaby just because I'm petty. I hope you enjoyed that. And now enjoy this. You can do a Kegel experience. What you want to do, Lispy, is you want to pretend like you're stopping your pee, okay? Like, you know how you can cut off your pee when you're peeing? Do that even when you're not peeing, and that'll strengthen the muscles there, and it'll stop you from having a quick finish. Tips from RTP. There we go.
Really complicated, but generally speaking, what he did was he created something called the dollar Trump coin, and you'll also remember there was a dollar Melania coin a little bit later. It is a coin that means nothing. It is like buying a pet rock, except you don't even get a rock. It has no value. It has no trading value. It's not used in commerce, nothing. They sold them initially.
And you can't sell it. also. So as this price is plummeting, the Trump family, who was allowed to sell this coin, and Trump's friends who were allowed to sell this coin after the pump and dump, retail investors largely were not allowed to sell this coin.
At $7, it went all the way up to $45. Not surprisingly, it crashed. This was the first dinner. The one that you mentioned was the second dinner, but the first dinner he did for his biggest buyers of the crypto back here in the spring of 2025. And the one he just did, which was coincidentally at Mar-a-Lago a few hours before the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and we know what happened there, actually had no effect on the value of crypto, and so of this crypto, and so the world was kind of on to him. But look what else has happened here. So there have been
now
found to
this
be
is where we
45
talk
what are
about
called whale.
stealing. You still hear the Jaka? This is where we talk about stealing. Now remember, stealing is an act. There's no crime of stealing. It's called theft. This would not be labeled as stealing, but it's stealing, right? Because stealing itself isn't the criminal statute. But this is called stealing.
Wallets, huge buyers of this stuff early on in the process. Then as crypto went up, these whales, and it could include Trump, but we don't even know who it includes. It could include a lot of foreigners, people who are tipped off. They made $1.2 billion. Trump, we know, made about $600 million in trading fees and so forth on this. But who lost?
Just by having this coin, insider fees and sales, Trump made $600 million. 45 whale wallets, which were the insiders, made, what's that, $1.2 billion. And everybody else lost. They stole the money.
Who lost were 2 million innocent Americans who bought this thing because they thought Trump was great or whatever. They lost $4.3 billion by buying up here and now owning.
Please rename ads to just the tip from RTP. Thanks, Swish. Good idea.
Something that is worth less than $3. And it isn't even something. It's not even, as I said before, you get nothing when you buy this thing except a little digital something.
So, Steve, I want you to further explain the scam here, because what happens is these insiders, they know. Point to where, let's go on Steve's chart. Point all the way to the left, Steve, to the bottom. Yeah. All right, so this is the point where all of these insiders know, these whales.
If you bought the Trump coin, you deserve to lose money. Fair enough. Still a pump and dump scheme. This was always intended to steal money from his own supporters, by the way, from the people that liked him. This wasn't a bunch of people like me. We weren't out there buying this coin. We knew what it was from the start. This is Trump duping his dumbest supporters and stealing their money. Captain said RTP called me out earlier, so Jen does not. And I apologize for that again, Captain. My bad. And good time to remind. We have about 20 minutes left. I'll update the gift goal. We about knocked it out. If we want to do a dollar train real quick, we'll knock that out. And as always, I appreciate you guys being so generous and helping us with our gift goals every day so we can continue this operation.
Know that Trump's about to put a coin out. Okay, so what do? They buy it up. They buy it up. They buy it up. And it skyrockets, go to the top.
Yeah.
Steve, so they go up. That's the profit that the billionaires and the insiders make. And then the public goes, oh, wait, look, it's going up. Well, they sell theirs, make all of their money, and then where are all those other poor suckers left, Steve?
Down here,
right there.
All the way down here. And they're out of pocket $4.3 billion for the privilege of doing that.
Now explain.
We got that, Jaka. Is Jaka still here? We got that, bud? You have any pushback on this, or did you bounce when we started giving you receipts?
Steve, if you caught people doing this and with stocks, they would go to jail the rest of their life.
Maniac, we know you just don't understand any of this. And so you're like, MS now, propaganda. It's fine. Just say I don't understand. I can explain to you. Which part do you not understand, Maniac? What's the part of this Donald Trump stealing from his supporters do you not understand? I can use smaller words if you'd like.
But in crypto, it's okay to say, I'm about to put out a coin. You guys are going to make $1 billion off of this. invest. They invest, it goes straight up, then they sell when it's at its peak, they make their money, and everybody else loses. How much money did Americans lose on this?
Oh, you're going to, sorry for your participation in the mRNA clot shot. Yeah, good. Good Lord. Oh my God. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Every time. Ask a MAGA a question. I bet you got vaccinated. Nice, dude. Fucking roasted me.
$4.3 billion estimated being lost by 2 million.
It was included in his net worth before he was president. He launched this 2 days before he was president. Incorrect. Try again.
Americans who did this. And again, Joe, let me just emphasize, it's not like they got anything. All they got, in effect, was like a little note, a little email or something saying, congratulations, you own 10 Trump meme coins.
Thanks,
but
Liz
there's
Ross.
nothing you
Appreciate
can do
it.
with it. They were buying nothing. They were buying air.
Yeah, well, speaking of air, let's talk about crypto in general. It's not attached to anything. Thousands of years of history have shown us that when something's not attached to anything, gold, whatever, it's going to fall apart like tulips. Talk about how
I need to be vaccinated with lead. Oh, well, wait, hold on. See, I wouldn't get that because I trust the science that you shouldn't be vaccinated with lead. However, I trust the COVID vaccine because of this same science. Are you suddenly trusting science now?
unpoliced crypto is right now, and all the things that would be so illegal in any other monetary trade.
Yeah, and
Thank you for saying that. So Connor says, someone who supported a number of things Trump has done, this is by far one of the dumbest fucking wild. I would not say dumbest. I would say most blatantly illegal and should cost him the presidency. Because it is in open violation of the Emoluments Clause. He is not doing, he's not doing his job. He's just out there using the presidency to make billions of dollars. This is theft, and it's a clear violation of the Constitution. It's not dumb. It's illegal.
by the way, Trump has contributed to that because when you look at enforcement, we did try to have enforcement against all the grifters and the people who are trying to create a coin or trying to do this or trying to do that. And a bunch of them did get convicted. But under Trump, enforcement has dropped all the way down here. He's also pardoned a number of people who got convicted of crypto abuses and set them free. And this is all his belief that crypto.
This isn't selling merchandise, Knight Rider. Do you know what crypto is? And yeah, I don't, the Emoluments Clause doesn't apply to me because I'm not the president of the United States. But this is also not merch. It's a Ponzi scheme.
As you saw in that opening clip, crypto was great for America. But remember one other
Steve,
thing.
let me say something really quickly here. Sure. When you talk about people,
that's a good point, Joe. It's a good reminder. Dave Portnoy was one of the people that lost. He lost about $1 million. Then when he realized he wasn't really Trump's friend, just Mark. Yeah. Do you remember though, Joseph? The rest of that story about Dave Portnoy is Dave Portnoy lost. I think it was about $1 million. I don't know if that number is exactly correct. And then he got mad and he went and he posted about it. And the people running Trump Coin gave him his money back because he was rich and making noise about it. He actually wound up getting his money back. Everybody else got fucked, but not Dave, I'm rich Portnoy.
About people that broke laws, I think what's important, and you just explained it, but let's explain it again. It's not just that some people got rich off of coins that just don't.
What president, Knight Rider, show me a president that was making money off of the books selling merchandise with their pictures on it. Go ahead and name the president who was making money off of merchandise. You're wrong. They weren't. You can't sell merch and make money off of it as president. No president did that. You're just making shit up to defend Donald Trump.
Mean anything? It's that more people got scammed. Working Americans got scammed. Middle class people got scammed.
All of this money was after he was... Brother, every time you buy a coin, a Trump coin, he makes money. He launched it 2 days before. The Trump coin is still active. You can still buy it. Every time somebody purchases Trump coin, he makes money. Every time somebody purchases World Liberty Financial, he makes money. He is still making money doing this. And again, it's not just that he's making money. So, like, for example, his properties that he has, he can make money off of that. However, he could violate the emoluments clause if it was shown that foreign countries were coming in and booking and then they were getting like kickbacks in return, which he's absolutely doing with World Liberty Financial. Just stop trying so hard to make him not a criminal. He's just a criminal.
Scam. Small businesses got scammed. Like these billionaires, it's an inside deal. They get richer, and middle class Americans are the ones that get pounded by this, right?
Right. That's exactly what that chart that we looked at a second ago shows, that basically the insiders knew when to buy, and they sold in time, and they sold to 2 million ordinary Americans, who then are left with something that I said has not only gone down in value so much, but it's nothing. They bought nothing.
Not my opinion, Robert. This is not opinion at all. This is just, it is clear. It's like it literally says that you cannot receive benefits beyond your salary from any foreign entity. And he is. It's not an opinion. It is just true.
Nothing. But let's talk about one other piece of this thing, which are the foreigners. A lot of what I showed you before involves all kinds of foreign entanglements. The Emiratis bought into one of Trump's companies for $2 billion. 76% of the people who bought the dollar Trump coins are believed to be foreigners. 72%
violation of the foreign emoluments clause, because he's making money off of all of this.
This is another Trump coin, which also doesn't really do anything.
Violation of the emoluments clause.
2% of them are foreigners. And so everything you see here is entangled with foreigners. They're still doing real estate.
Wait, Steve, do we know what foreigners? Do we know? Is it going to be somebody in the Communist Chinese Party? Could it be?
Shut up, Morning Joe. Stop saying that. Yeah, we know who the foreigners. Yeah, we know a lot of them. We don't know all of them because the crypto wallets are hard to track. But yeah, we know a ton of them. Joseph said Dave Portnoy was one of the people that. Oh, I read that one already.
Saudi. Do we know who all of those people are who are buying Russians? Are there Russian oligarchs that are trying to buy influence? Do we know who bought these, who gave Trump all of this money for this?
We know that a lot of them got pardons, like Justin's son, for example, got a pardon. We know that Trevor Milton got a pardon.
No? We don't know, and that's exactly your point and exactly the point. That we don't know exactly who they are. We don't even know approximately who they are.
I love it. Move to Cuba. What's with Cuba? What do you hate about Cuba? That you think the leadership of the same as Venezuela? Oh, these corrupt leaders. They don't do anything for their people. They're just in office to make money for themselves. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has made more money than any of those leaders. He's made like $6 billion, and you're like, move to Cuba if you're going to complain about our president not doing anything for the people and just using the office to enrich himself. Like, he's a dictator. He's the same thing that you guys criticize Maduro of doing, except for Maduro doesn't have money like this.
You're saying that Vladimir Putin himself could have directed Russian oligarchs to invest billions of dollars in Trump crypto, or members of the Communist Chinese Party could have done it, or members of North Korea. We don't know who the foreigners are that have invested billions and billions of dollars into these coins that accrue to the President of the United States' benefit.
We do not know. And as I said at the beginning, one of the features of Trump 2.0 is the guardrails all came off on his own personal activities.
So Trump pardons his entire family. It's okay. It's legal. I don't like it. I don't like when Biden did it either. I think that I've said a million times, I don't think the president should have the power of the pardon. I think that was a big mistake by our founding fathers.
He basically said, and he was known to have said, nobody really cared in the first term that I put these guardrails on. So now, no holes barred. I'm just going to do whatever I can.
What are you saying about 18 U.S.C. 208? You said apparently 18 U.S.C. 208 allows president and VP to make decisions that can possibly profit their businesses or investments because they hold the highest power. 18 U.S.C. 208, let's look at that real quick from Cornell Law. Except as permitted by subsection B hereof, whoever being an officer or employee of the executive branch of the United States or any independent agency of the United States, Federal Reserve Bank, yada, 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 special government employee, participates personally and substantially as a government office, yada, yada. What can't they do? With whom he is negotiating or has any arrangement concerning that prospective employment has a financial interest shall be subject to the penalties set forth in 216 of this title. If the officer or employee first advises the government official responsible for appointment to his or her position of the nature and circumstance of the judicial or other proceeding application, request for a ruling or other determination, contract claim, controversy, charge, accusation, arrest, that can't be it. You're saying that this means that they can do whatever they want? Like they can just make money? I don't think that's what this is saying. I'd have to read it again. I don't think that's what it's saying. I don't know where you're coming up with that.
Do to make money, and I feel like Trump 1.0 cost me a lot of money, and it's not going to happen in Trump 2.0. And so we're off to the races with every kind of crypto.
Why didn't Pelosi pass the Pelosi Act? Pelosi can't pass things. She's one person. That's mostly why.
Deal you can imagine, every kind of foreign deal you can imagine. And we do know that some of the investors in his companies were exactly some of the people who are involved in the Iranian war at the moment, particularly the Emiratis.
All right, Morning Joe economic analyst Steve Ratner. Thank you very much.
All right. Sully said, thanks, RTP, Jen, and Mods. Love you all. Thanks, Sully, as always. Leanne, good to see you. Behind on my dues. Keep it up, Jane, Jen. Leanne, we'll see you tonight for movie night, I assume. Kara said, thank you. Appreciate that, Kara. I guess we do have a few more minutes. All right. Let me get one more video, and I'll update the goal, and then we'll get out of here. Are there any of these that I missed? All right, I'll play this one. I'll play this because I just want to show how bad Chris Cuomo is at this. Chris Cuomo got absolutely flustered in trying to defend his negative coverage of the Iran war. And this is something that, like, anybody on our side is going to get criticized for this. It's a Republican thing where they don't view the role of the media in the same way as perhaps I do, where the role of the media is not to cheerlead our government. The role of the media is to criticize. The role of the media is to find spots where the government is not performing well and highlight those. They don't need cheerleaders. They don't need rah-rah shit. That's why so many of these news programs aren't trusted. They don't need any of that. But I wanted to show this to just, one, show how bad Chris Cuomo is at this, and two, show other media figures that you should probably be able to defend your negative coverage much better than this. Like I said, I'll update the gift goal, but if any of you guys want to help us knock that out in the next couple minutes while this is playing, that'd be great. Otherwise, we will see you tonight or tomorrow.
Hey, Chris. So, yeah, you won me over as well when you switched over from CNN to News Nation. I think that probably tells you where I lean politically. But I wanted to call you out, and, I mean, just in general, the media, it seems like they're overly focused on the negative, more about trying to convince the country of their position rather than reporting both sides, like this Iran thing. So much negative coverage that don't you think that you're prolonging the Iran war by fueling them to think that they can hold out because, you know, with all this negative coverage, and certainly now the country, but I mean, there's a lot of generals that are speaking up about why we are doing this and believe it's the right thing to do, too. I believe it's the right thing to do. So what are your thoughts?
I think it's easy for generals to feel that way. That's what they do, is use military force. It's like asking a surgeon whether he thinks you need an operation. Now, this with all due respect, and if it weren't for the might of the U.S. military, who knows what this would look like right now? Because the strategy was not exactly, I think it's fair to say, objectively, we have not been wowed by the level of strategy here. I cannot agree with you that it is the media coverage in America that is giving the Iranian regime resolve. Okay?
Such a weird thing. Why does it matter, like, what our press is doing? How does that change the outcome of this war? How does criticizing the way that this administration is handling the war, how does that change any outcome? This is like the American arrogance, and this is American fragility. It's not going well. We should cover that. And the more we cover it and the more we don't pretend that it's going well, the quicker this will be over. That's our job. That's the job of the press, and that's the job of the electorate. That when things aren't going well, we pressure our government to stop fucking doing it. Why are people upset that the war is being criticized, especially with the history of our government and the history of the wars that we engage in? We engage in the dumbest fucking wars. I think most people say, like, the last time we were in a justified war was World War II. Everything else since then has been just mistake after mistake after mistake. But it's always the same shit every time. While we're in the war, the Republican that dragged us into it, because that's how this works, thinks like it's unfair and unpatriotic to be criticized. Legitimate press follow the American people. The approval of this war is in the 20s. Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants this war. That's the job of the press. Why would you criticize? Why are you upset at the press for criticizing the administration? Oh, Richard. Richard, don't say all cap if I want to. We have rules here, dude. It's for a reason. All caps are so that mods can communicate with me. That's why we do it this way. Please don't fight with the mods.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's anti-American to criticize military action at a time of an affordability crisis that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. That doesn't mean I want America to lose. It means I want America to win in both places. We'll be right back.
All right. That's it. All right, Jen, did I miss any messages? Oh, I missed Johnny. Johnny said holla for the dollar train. I did miss Johnny. Whew. That was close. Johnny would have eaten my lunch if I forgot. I'll check there. Okay, we're good. Any last words, Jen, before we see you tonight for movie night?
I think you got a different number. If anyone wants to come in last minute and finish off the rest of the goal, I think it's 60.
There you go.
Throw that in there.
Okay.
Right.
We're going to have some... we're going to be able to ask you... yeah, tonight we're going to do Ask Me Anything, whether Jen's involved or not, and I'll answer for Jen.
I mean,
do that.
I'll be there. I'm going to ask.
We'll do an AMA for all members. If you don't want to watch the show, that's fine. But if you want to come in and just talk after, I'll stay after for like an hour, and we can just talk. We can do an AMA at the end. We can talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. So we'll do that tonight starting at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want to thank all you members. And so it'll be like an hour and 10 minutes, I think, worth of video, and then we'll stay. So even if you don't want to watch and you want to come back for the AMA for you members, join the Discord. If you're not in there already, message GenDub1 on Discord. You can come and you can join us for that. Other than that, yeah, small talk. That's what we're doing. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow morning, bright and early, and every weekday morning, bright and early, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here, wherever you were watching. Until I see you again, take care of yourselves. Go outside and touch grass. If you can't touch grass, smoke grass. If you can't touch grass or smoke grass, then best of luck to you. Be nice to yourselves. Be nice to your friends. Be nice to your family. Get those boots on the ground. Drink lots of water. And when you look in the mirror, make sure you tell yourself that you love yourself. And until I see you again, stay cute and cool and have a great summer.